Welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. We're looking at the South American region of the fall split of 2019, and it's time to move into the semi-finals. We've eliminated our first 8 teams from the competition. We've got 8 more to get rid of in the next 6 days. My name is Brainstorm. I am joined by Smash once again. We're ready to get back into things here. We've had a day off.
Yeah,
had some rest, had some sleep, ready to get back into things now. We've got another 24 games over the next 6 days. If you have missed any of the group stages and you want to see how we got here, you can check it out over on the PUBG Mobile Esports YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and keep up to date with all the mini games we have going on. And of course, if you want to play PUBG Mobile, you can find it completely free on the Google Play Store or the iOS App Store if you feel like getting involved in the action yourself. Now, we reset all the points back to 0.
Yep.
We've gotten rid of 8 teams, but essentially it's a fresh start.
Yeah, essentially it is a fresh start. For those teams that didn't do so well in the first phase, it's a new opportunity to really cement yourself. I mean, we're only going to have 16 teams after these 6 days of play, so 24 games that we are going to be playing. So those teams, it's a new start. You don't get second chances often, Tim, and you've got to take full advantage when you do.
Yeah, so if you're one of the teams who sort of scraped in at the start or into the semi-finals in like 23rd, 24th, you're down the bottom there, you just managed to make it through, then you got a bit of a breather. You got some time to make it work, but I mean, on the flip side, if you're, well, I mean, I'll just be honest about it. If you're Brazilian Killers and you got nearly 200 points last phase, you got to start again from scratch. Either way, this is our overall format of the whole of PMCO 2019. We are currently in that second little group of boxes on your screens there, the semi-finals, the top 24. We have 24 games here for groups E, F, and G. We'll eliminate the bottom 8 teams and we go into the top 16 for the regional finals.
Certainly do, and this is how you get the points to progress. It is 20 points for that winner chicken dinner, 1 point for each kill as well on top of that. So we've seen some big chicken dinners so far. Second place will net you 14 points. Third place, the tricky one, will get you 10 points. Fourth, you know, it continues to go down from there, scaling down from there. It's been a lot of emphasis on the placement points in other regions. The South America region though, kill points. This is the stacked groups that we have today. That group E is an absolute mouth-watering group. It's got Queso and Brazilian Killers, the top 2 from last season. It's also got Bastardos who've been playing well. Ace1 haven't been too shy of a chicken dinner themselves. Influence Rage picked it up towards the end. Then in the group F, we got a few familiar faces there. We got Batman, XG and Batman were probably the 2 best teams out of that group.
Well, XG came in second overall last time. I was going to say last season. Last phase. Last week. Last phase, yeah. The group stage is the word the phrase I was looking for. But yeah, so...
Yeah, Loops didn't do too badly either in that group. So we have a lot of good teams today. I think Group E is probably, for me, the pick of the groups. It's probably got the most stacked teams in it. Brazilian Killers, Team Queso. That's the 2 teams I'm going to be watching throughout this. I'm hoping that Brazilian Killers can break that 100 kill mark again because it'll be entertaining as all hell if it is happening. I mean,
I feel so bad for them though. 101 kills, 99 placement points. They missed out on 200 by 1. But that said, theirs was, not only were they our highest scoring team last in the groups, I'm just going to say in the groups because there's no last anything that makes sense. Yeah. They were also the only team with an even distribution of kills and placement points. Everyone else was much more heavily weighted towards placements. We did have quite a few teams getting pretty high up on the kill counts as well.
Yeah, there was a few teams up around that 70 mark, 75 mark. So that's about 20, well, obviously that's 25, 20 off Brazilian Killers, but that was really...
72 was the next
in one day, Brazilian Killers did the bulk of that killing, I'd imagine, because I believe they got 40 kills in one of the 3 days of their groups. 40 kills in a day, that's 10 kills a day, that's insane numbers you're putting up.
Not even that, 10 kills a map.
10 kills a map, yeah, that is. So, I mean, that is phenomenal. Let's see if they can repeat their performances as we do jump into Erangel, one of the favourite maps, well, the favourite son, I guess, of the PUBG mobile community. We jump into the plane, and we've got some pretty paint on it already. Looks like it's just going to be a straight northwest to southeast plane. So beautiful, safe, nice plane, friendly plane to start the day and start off the semi-finals of the South American region.
Exactly that. This is our first map of the semi-finals, and all of the semi-finals for all regions have been kicking off over the last 12 hours or so. If you've missed those broadcasts, it's been all the regions getting started with theirs today. But for now, we are concerned with South America. We've had a lot of the teams get out of the plane already, and we're only just about halfway through its path as we go past Gatka on the right of your plane.
If you look at the left, you will see Pubg, where you'll find the Brazilian Killers honing their skills. They have dropped Pubg pretty much all the time in this Erangel map, and no team has really bothered to contest them. I think every team has done their research, knows where they drop, and has just avoided them like the plague. Sosnoff got military base will be our last destination, and you better hop off here, otherwise the plane's going to disappear.
Which is not normally how you play in true dance, but this is the way it is.
Well, if you go into the Bermuda Triangle,
yeah,
then maybe, just maybe
I
your plane.
guess. I mean, your plane doesn't really disappear on the Bermuda Triangle. Whoa, that's early. 9K already have one onto PDZ with an M4 already in hand, or an
M16.
M16 even is what I meant to say.
He's
As soon as I said
done and
M4, I
dusted.
was looking at it like, that's not an M4.
It's not an M4 at all.
No.
So the first one goes down already. 9K are they're leading the semifinals, Tim. They've already got a point in the
They're
bag.
in first place. They've done it. They are doing better than Brazilian killers.
Yeah, they certainly are. Well, the first point rains out. We are on board with Ace in Severny, I believe. Yep, there's the church. One of the landmarks. Just drop the fellas off, get some loot. Here we go. Getting stuck into it. Well, the thing about dropping 8 teams, or the bottom 8 teams, is you're going to get a lot more competition in these lobbies now. There is going to be a lot more top-end teams fighting each other, so the skill level of the lobby has increased dramatically. As we see a little bit of a fight for Novo, that's on the military island. It's going to be a bit of a decent spray coming out already from one of the Real players. First thing he picks up is that 7.62 assault rifle. That is one of the favourites of the players too, just because it does so much damage. And 8 times already picked up for that Real player, so he'll be able to spot the moon, or the craters in the moon with that thing, as the Car 98 is picked up. So maybe he trades that to his buddy that just picked up the 8 times. The only 8 times. One of my favourite scopes, because you can zoom it out, zoom it in, play with it all you like.
You can do that with most scopes in the game,
No,
mate.
but 8 times. You can zoom it out to 8 times, or zoom it in to 8 times, I should say. As the players, they just start to rotate, start to loot around. We only had that one casualty so far, so the action not kicking off just yet. As we see the crates here. What do you reckon's in most of those crates? It is a shipping
food.
port. Food, yeah, no, that's a good shout, good shout. As we see
And
the
or
circle.
cars.
Well, a few of these teams are going to need cars, especially those ones in North and South Georgia Bowl. They are quite a ways away from the circle. A military base is still in there in its entirety. So that is a very possible destination for the finish of our game 1. As we see the apartments being looted out by the Rage boys, the Influence Rage.
Influence Rage, yeah.
Influence Rage, yeah. They are right in the middle of the business.
If you've got to be near the business at all, in the middle of it is the way to go.
Certainly, as there's not a lot of action rolling out at the moment. Most teams have found themselves alone in their loot spots. That Novo fight is going to kick off a little bit, but it is pretty easy. If you do get knocked in those Novo fights, you can hide in the crates, drop down a bit, so it's not the worst situation to find yourself in. If you are fighting there early, pretty easy to get back on your feet.
Now, the interesting part for me, whenever we have, well, I mean, all of the maps have a reasonably prominent island on them. Miramar not so much, but there is a chance.
Yep.
What the interesting part for me is like watching teams, how they choose to deal with it if the circle is south. Like right now, it would have to be a really big shift south, but it's within the realms of possibility that this could end up on the military island. It's not likely, but it could. And the interesting part for me is always seeing how teams choose to deal with that. Right now, it doesn't look like we have any additional teams rotating onto the island, but the DTB boys look like they are controlling at least the western bridge. They haven't gone over it just yet, but they've got pretty good control of it. And SvG on the other side are going off that island now as well. So looks like our teams are not thinking it'll be an island circle, and I'm inclined to agree with them. It's not quite as south as it would be to make it likely.
No, I mean, there isn't much water south, or there's no water south of the military base, so that limits the chances that it will be a military circle, just because it will have to hard shift every single circle essentially to get it there. Yeah, I'm feeling, I don't know. I mean, statistically, well, it should be around farm military type of area ending. It could go south of Pachinki or southwest of Pachinki into the hills there, but I don't know. I'm feeling a spicy one for the start of the day. I really want that military base circle. Maybe the northern tip of the military island would be fantastic.
Yeah, give me like a coastal circle.
A coastal circle would be very fun. It would be very fun. Very rare, because obviously there's still water around the place on the coast. But stranger things have happened. We saw lots of strange things happen so far, as I believe it was Team Solid that snuck through on the last possible game of the last stage.
Yeah, they got
groups.
a chicken dinner at the...
Chicken dinner to finish it off. They're not going to be playing today, Team Solid, but that is going to be a fan favourite, well, a favourite of ours, because what a way to secure yourself a spot. Last game, a big chicken dinner, otherwise you're gone. So fantastic work by those boys.
I mean, it was almost too little too late. I mean, they'll certainly need to start off earlier with some good results to make it through this time. As it's in 24 teams now, there's nowhere near as big of a margin for error.
Certainly.
And those comebacks will be a lot harder to do because there's fewer teams, so
well,
you can only move up so far.
We were talking about in the last phase of the group stage, that you needed one big day essentially to secure yourself a spot into the semi-finals. But I think it's all changed now. I think you're going to need at least 2 big days to secure yourself a spot into that top 16, and even the other days need to be pretty decent to go with it. So there isn't much room to work with. There's no second chances after this, really. You get in that top 16, you have to go hell for leather in those last 10. So teams are going to be definitely bringing out all stops to get themselves into that top 16, because you'd hate to find yourself on the losing end of it.
Another thing that we should mention here is that it's a lot more concentrated. Like, we've got the same amount of time, but each team's going to play 2 days in a row, as we do have the same rotations of groups for each set of days, I suppose. So we do E versus F, E versus G, F versus G, and then we do that again. So everyone's got 4 days of play, which of course you need in order to get through all of your games. Wait. No, I'm doing some maths wrong there.
4, 8, 12, 16, 24, yeah. Well, but they only need to play 12 games.
Yeah, that's
4, 8, 12, so they only need 3 days.
We'll have to look into that. Moving on, I think, because my brain isn't working properly to comprehend that right now. Either way.
Ace has got another knock onto that PDZ squad, so they're not starting the semi-finals the way that they would like to, as 2 of their players have already been knocked out. The fight's going to kick out. It's 2v4 essentially on this hill line, and Ace aren't showing any signs of slowing down at all. There's only one remaining, and there's only one PDZ remaining. Where is he gone?
He's in a car. He's out.
He's out.
You can see him way over on the other side there in that compound.
Oh, they're taking shots at him too. They know where he is. It is the shots with that M24 ringing out. You can hear as the 3rd PDZ player gets confirmed, gets thirsted. So they are on the ropes already, on the back foot. As we see the assault rifle spray, the M4 spray going into that door, trying to help his teammate out, get out of there. He has thirsted that player from Crazy, so already XG starting off on the right foot, taking those fights. This is another one. The M4 spray is quite potent at this range. He needs his teammates to come help him out. Paris is stuck in between a rock and a hard situation. 2 players on him. He's dropping incredibly low. Manages to find himself back into the house, and his teammates have arrived. The cavalry is here.
Yeah, the bailout comes through just in time, and it's Mix0, who is one of our highest fraggers for EG. Going to do it again. Take out that entire squad, or for XG I should say, with the help of his team. And instead of Ace going out in 16th, they avoid that.
Yeah, it certainly is. They're taking shots again at another squad that's rotating in. So the action doesn't stop for this XG squad. They are determined to defend their little compound that they've found themselves. They're inside the circle, so can't imagine why they would want to give it up. They are in the northern side of the circle. Oh, no, sorry, they're not. They're actually in pretty much the center of the circle. It's no wonder why they're defending it so fiercely. But 4 kills already for them. Crazy going out in 16th place in the start of our semi-finals. They didn't have the most fantastic of the group stage. They were that team in 23rd position. Yeah,
they're one of our teams who pretty much turned it around in the last 4 games that they played, essentially. So once again, I mean, obviously, with the way that this game works, some teams have to have bad games.
Yep.
You know, someone's got to go out in 16th and 11th, 16th and get those 1-point games. So you can't have not everyone can have a good game every game, but I don't think we can afford to have any team having as quiet of a start. And by start, I'm going to mean like day and a half, right?
Yeah,
like if you have a quiet 2 or 3 games on the first day, you're probably still fine. But you got to turn it around a lot earlier than we had people doing in the group stage, I think.
Yeah, you certainly need to get a little bit of a wriggle on. You can't afford to have too many 16ths or 11ths to 16ths without a kills. You can afford to have a few 11th to 16th with kills. So if you get yourself 5 or 6 kills before you go out, that's not too bad. You can kind of salvage it from there, but going out with nothing against your name on the kill board is pretty rough stuff to start off the day, as we are on board with SvG. That is not the start of the day. Well, they found themselves in an okay position, but there isn't a lot of cover for them to work with. They'll just be poking everyone out, letting them know they're there, warding them off essentially, scaring them away.
Yeah, it looks like the Loops boys are going to fall back and get out of here.
It is quite scary when you start to progress upon a position as a squad and you suddenly get fired upon back. You kind of have to reassess what you want to be doing. Can't just rotate in freely.
Think about your life.
So the circle is popped. It is primarily on the mainland, so that military base circle has pretty much all but escaped us, and all the teams have realized that and started rotating across. Nobody got camped on the bridges, so that's nice. Nobody's bullying in this lobby just yet.
Give it a few days, I reckon.
East of Pachinki is looking pretty decent for the next circle, if that's where it's going to go, because it is pretty much center, just the eastern side of Pachinki. Milter's still in play too, so maybe that farm area where teams look like they're stacking up upon now doesn't look like a bad shout.
Having a quick look at Red Canids here, and they're firing off with the Mini, getting some shots in at long range.
It's another fantastic team, the Red Canids. They had a pretty good run. They came in 5th overall in our group stages, so that is a rare circle.
That's a really weird shift.
That is a really
hard
weird shift.
southeast.
It is farm. It's really hard to call, right? Because it's about 30%.
This next circle is 4th circle. So,
Certainly. So
that's got to get away from that river one way or the other.
It's got a hard shift somewhere.
It's either got to go
north.
I assume it's...
Because there's not... Well, it doesn't have to go north, but
it could wind up on the very, very edge of the island, but you'd assume that it's going to end up around the farm, right? And around the compounds to the south of it. But that's a really, really odd shift to make. It was centered on pretty much Pachinki Fields just east of there, and now it's all the way down in the corner here. So that's an interesting movement for teams to have to make. And look at the Red Boys. They're going to go across onto the military island, come across the northern road next to the cliffs, and then get across that way. So if it shifts onto the island, they're going to be there first. If not, they've got a potential backstab. Either way,
this isn't a bad shout from the Red Boys, because if they have that long range damage, well, the DMRs, the sniper rifles, they can sit on that beach and start shelling teams, because a lot of teams are going to have to take cover towards the southern coast of the main island.
Because all the other teams are coming from the north.
There's going to be lots of fights there. So they could secure themselves a lot of... You can see it already on your screen. You could secure yourselves a lot of pickoffs, a lot of kills there. If you're quick on the rotation and you find the right angles, you can third party a lot of engagements. And if ever you're engaged upon or people take shots back, you can just hide for a little bit, and then the teams on the northern island are just going to come in anyway. So this is a fantastic move. I can't wait to see if this works out for the side.
They've made the timing. I think one of their players was in the zone for about 10 seconds there, but it's not going to matter. They will make it back inside the circle. Here is the shelling coming in onto the rotations. It's Team Queso getting some shots out, but pardon me, not rewarded for it just yet.
They get a one.
Never mind, they are going to get one.
Was that on the Brazilian killers?
I honestly didn't read it quickly enough.
It looks like it could be. So if Brazilian killers have lost one already, that's pretty rough for them. But 3 players still around. Oh no, they got 4. So maybe it's just an op. As the frags start to rain out, we start to see Axial, one of our killers, our top killers. Oh, he knows he's in there too. Oh, he gets the headshot though with the AK-47 with the 7.
It pre-fired him too.
Pre-fired him, yeah.
Find it.
That 7.62 does a lot of damage. And it was one of the Brazilian killers that went down and confirmed as well. So you saw that on board with them earlier.
If there is one grenade here for any of these Brazilian killers, Batman guy is dead. He's actually going to go for the peak and force the issue. And he does get himself another one there, but I think he's been knocked down now, so that should be all but done. And in the meantime, they're going to look towards his teammates here and see what else they can find. They'll even drive the car out of the way just so they can go in and get the confirm in safety. All right, this is where this next shift is coming in, by the way. This is going to be interesting. We do, of course, have fights still going on, not to distract from them.
This could be Brazilian killers going out in 15th place.
Oh my god, look at that circle. That's a really hard shift north onto the farm side of the bridge, which is what we would have expected.
That is Brazilian killers out in 15th.
Are out. Not a good start for them. We were talking in the group stage, late stages of the group stage, however, they did go out really early. It didn't matter because they already had so many points. But now our points have been reset. They don't want to be going out this early. None of our teams do, as we're back to, pardon me, we're back to square one.
It is. And Team Queso are now under a lot of pressure as 3 of their players have been knocked down. The last player on very low HP is getting pushed as well. This could be Team Queso, another one of our favorites, going out already.
So
this could be a really tough game. It is.
There you go,
a really tough game. From the top of the board, the top teams of this group, you'd say they have had a disastrous start as Brazilian Killers at Team Queso are already out. Crazy has departed as well, but that's a little bit more expected. They didn't have the most fantastic group stage. So finding ourselves 3 teams down already. What a crazy circle we've had. The Red Canids are getting in a boat and finding their way across that little channel there. So they're still in the lobby at least. And
I like the idea of not risking the
as well.
bridge there as well, because that's the thing. Like, if that could have worked out really well for them, that rotation onto the southern island, but it doesn't. And you know, there's going to be a lot of teams taking cover around the bridge, so they go for the slightly safer option, find a couple of boats. They will get across, be able to land on the beach, and that's much better than all the fire you would have taken coming across the bridge.
They're going to land right into the Disturbed guys as we see Ace knocking out some more players. Loops are bearing the brunt of that M24 that they've got in their hot little hands. As Bastardos starts kicking off too. So all these teams, now they've been forced into the same region or the same area. They are getting quite friendly with each other, or unfriendly as it would be. As that circle is a very strange shift. It is on the northern or the southern side of the northern island, just south of Farm, just west of Milta. So there is a lot of defilate there, little hills to hide in, but there's not a lot of compounds as Ace is still knocking people around with that M24. Wouldn't expect anything else or anything less from them at this point. They could come out with a pretty hefty kill tally here, actually, as we've already got 5 kills on the side of 9K and 4 kills on the side of XG. So some of these teams are kicking off quite well. 9K is a surprise for me. They've done quite well for themselves early on, as we are on board with them. Convenient timing. They've found themselves a nice little area to play out of too. They are near XG, who have been one of our better squads in the South American region.
Well, one of our best, really. They came in 2nd place, managing to sneak up over Nova and Bastardos in the last couple of games to get themselves up into 2nd. They had a very good group stage indeed, and they're still in things here. With Brazilian Killers out as well, this is their chance to start things out well and take the lead, given that I think Group E is going to be the biggest contest.
Oh, certainly. There's so many good teams in that group. That is, the Bastardos found themselves in that group as well, who have been a pretty strong squad. So, for me, this circle, it's going to be a rough one. Bastardos have found themselves in a really decent position. Same with A. So I'd say XG aren't too badly positioned either.
I mean, I reckon this circle goes north.
I think it does go. Yeah, I think it does go north.
Yeah,
it has.
Northeast.
It has. Bastardos have found themselves on the northern edge of it with nobody at their back just yet. They'll be able to hear if teams start to rotate around that way as well. So they're, for me, in the best position. There has been a decent amount of rotations. The Red Canids have found themselves on that shoreline. I'm not sure if they're just playing in boats, you know, jiggling in and out of those boats to stay alive, but either way, it's going to be rough stuff for them as their rotation paths are pretty much cut off. They've been running around the map a lot, and so we hear some shots firing out, raining out. This is a bit of a push now. I believe this is on board with the Red Canids fight. They're going to come in straight into Disturbed, so they need to win this fight. The winner of this fight is going to actually be pretty instrumental because they will be getting closed in by the blue very soon.
Look at Nitsu go with that VSS. He just got 3 knocks with it.
You're kidding.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not. He got 3 knocks with the VSS.
That is...
I was watching the kill feed. They were all different names. I'm sure of it.
That is some fantastic work out of Mitsu with that VSS. Might have found a cheeky flank with that weapon. As this is the Disturbed and the Red Canids fight. Red Canids, one of the stronger teams. They would have been very happy seeing Brazilian Kills go out early, as they have found a knock onto Disturbed's player early on.
It's confirmed coming out of that one as well. They've still got to find the rest of this roster, but starting things off the right way, as they do have a lot of pressure on them, and it looks like the Disturbed guys are considering just jumping in their cars and running.
Circle starts to move.
The zone's closing in though, and it's going to start ticking
that
over
car is
even
gonna
more
get
damage
lit
to
up.
the car. They did just make it. And there's one more player here. This last Disturbed player might even just sacrifice himself and go for a bit of a backstab, try and do some damage, allow his teammates to do as much as they can. Doesn't matter though. He's been found, I think.
No, I think he's just healing up at the moment. No, down he goes. So he has been knocked out in the play zone, I believe.
Oh, no, it's a different player who got knocked down from their team before, which means one got picked out of the car, but there you go. He's down to the play zone, and I think that might...
No, there's still one up in there for them. Red Canids are now going to push in towards XG, so the fight doesn't stop for them as we are on board with the Batman. Only 2 strong. They have picked themselves up 3 kills, but they'll be hoping for some decent placement points to go with it. More action is kicking off on this western coast of the circle. As you can see, these little compounds, there's so many of them, there's little shacks, but they're so deadly because the grenades rain in and you've got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You're forced out, as many teams have found themselves trying to find refuge in them. This is Killer's team, another team that left it pretty late to get into that top 24. They've found themselves with 3 players alive, but in a shack, and it's not exactly where you want to be, as that is SvG going down too. So they're done for the game. As Real start to get knocked out as well. Red Cannons, one of their players, has dropped to the zone.
What are these circle shifts?
Another hard
so much every time. Pretty much every shift in this circle has been a hard shift thus far. XG are getting sprayed down. The dinner plate doing some big work. In the meantime, though, he's been third-partied. Teams going down, players falling every which way. I think that was just like, what, 4 or 5 teams engaging each other at different times?
Red Cannons are in an awful position now. They've only got 1 player actually alive, 3 on the deck, as 9K start to go down to Bastardos. So Bastardos have really been gifted the circle pretty hard here, as that northern shift once more leads them into being pretty stationary with their positioning and just able to shell out damage after damage on board with them now. They've only picked themselves up the 2 kills, but you'd think in this circle coming, they'll pick up more as the spray does come out. Maybe he can secure this knock or this finish. He does with the dinner play. That is XG bearing the brunt, and another team has been knocked out. I believe that was the side of, maybe it was Red Canids who go out. So another one of the top teams down and out.
I believe Becca there for the start-offs was rocking a dinner plate and a car, so that's a pretty damn balanced loadout to have on this map.
It's got the 7.62 loadout. Those 7.62 guns do so much damage, as Law, one of our top killers as well. If the Brazilian killers didn't dominate the top 3, Law would have been right up in the mixture. As XG now push in and get aggressive. They're not feeling too hot at the moment. They've only got 1 player alive, and we're on board with him now. Don't know if he's going to be able to salvage this situation, as no, he actually goes out. And that is them done. So another top team down. This is looking... Well, he's actually only got 1 player alive, so they're still up. So this is looking good for teams like Ace1, Influence, Rage, and Killer's team, who didn't have the hottest start to the groups. Suddenly, they find themselves in a decent position in the semi-finals.
And yeah, it's only game 1. We've got a lot of games to go. We've got 3 more today and 23 more in total, but... You know, you still want to start off as well as you can just to build that confidence, get that started. And of course, given that we are already setting back to 0 points, you can give yourself a bit of a leg up on the competition, no matter how temporary it may end up being. Real and KST, Killer's team, right on top of each other here. A couple of smokes will provide cover for Real. They've got a player who's busy watching the other direction. He's so worried about that. So I think it's going to be a little bit close for them here. But this looks like it should be Killer's team actually going even with it so far. But...
Real
teams for now will stop exactly that. Both teams for now will pull back and just try and get some revives and some healing. In the meantime, Ace are getting involved and doing the third partying. I should be saying, Killer's team, that zone might just be a real problem for them.
I think that is all over for them, as we have only 4 teams remaining. All of a sudden, we found ourselves with the final 4. It is Ace and the side of Bastardos with 4 remaining. Influence Rage have found themselves a house, but for how long? They've got to get out of that eventually, and the side of Bastardos are looking directly at them. 8 kills.
That's the circle shifted to them.
It has actually shifted to them. Ace on that the eastern side, sorry, of the circle. KST Killer's team, they have found themselves a bit short on members, as they're only 2 alive, and they'll be playing as late as possible, you'd imagine, waiting for these teams to engage before they push up.
Yeah, it should be a matter of a very, very slow, careful, and late rotation with them, because they just want to be able to try and third-party some teams, maybe
comes a smoke wall.
A sneak attack off.
They've been able to hold...
might be making a play for this crate here.
They've made... Well, the thing about Bastardos is they haven't had to use any utility, because nobody's crashed their compound. Nobody's forced any short-range engagements with them, so they're free to put out these 2 smoke walls or 1 smoke wall. As you can see now popping out as another knock comes out. That's 1 onto Killer's team, so quite unfortunate for them. as they are eliminated into 4th position.
So we've got 3 teams remaining, all at full strength, but the knocks come in very quickly. Influence Rage going to cop the first one here. As the Bastardos are getting out of their compound with the cover of that smoke. They've even managed to get a car out as well, so some movable cover. That player does get knocked, but he's inside about 3 smokes, so he should be able to be rezzed in relative safety. In the meantime, though,
Ace is starting to pop off now. They've managed to find one of the Bastardos players, and I believe finish him for the game. Kaiser was an absolute star at the back end of the South American group stages, or the first group stages. So look for him to continue on his fantastic form. I believe he got like 12 or 13 kills in one game. It was insane numbers he was putting up.
Goodness me, that is a lot of kills to get. Still, though, all of these teams do have multiple players remaining. Ace still 4 strong. Bastardos on your screen here with 3.
He's found the edge there.
Rage. Yeah, gets some spray in, but not going to land anything just yet. That said, though, it feels like it's a matter of time before both remaining teams are engaging onto Ace.
It certainly does, as Ace now getting peppered, and there's not a lot of cover here. If they cover themselves from Bastardos, then they are open to the side of Influence Rage, who have to get out of this house now. The zone is at their back. Ace start to answer with knocks onto Bastardos. There's only 1 player alive from each Bastardos and Ace 1. They are going to be able to get the revive. Law will manage to handle that, but Ace won't be able to get the revive on their player. So now Influence Rage, if they can exit this house cleanly and not get sprayed down or cheeky third party, then they could have a good chance of winning this game. But Bastardos, they have found themselves in a decent position here.
They've still got 20 seconds to get out of this house here, Influence Rage, as that was when the zone will start to move. But they do need to do so before that zone moves, as this late in the game, we're 8 phases in, the zone is doing a lot of damage. So they are going to need to move forward. I've got to get a fair way out of that, actually, because the circle is on the 2 remaining Bastardos players. Ace, of course, only have the 1, but Influence Rage, despite being at a hefty player advantage here, 4 against 3 overall, and 2 of those 3 aren't on the same team as the other one, but they've still got to make their way out of cover. They've done it with the smoke grenades here, but Ace, the last player, Trace, might just sneak up and spoil their party here. Bastardos have found one as well, and Trace, I think, at this point, he could just hang around here, go for a big spray down, might as well take some zone damage. It's so unlikely he's able to win this, but if he can just clean up 2 or 3 of these players, which is looking very likely at this point, he's just got to take the shot. There he goes, gets the first 2 out. He will be going down to the zone surely in just a second, but he's been able to do good damage at least, and there we go. He will end up confirming both of his frags.
Did he just knock them all out? He just did. He just knocked them all out.
He 4K'd the entire team. I mean, now he's got a 1 against 2, so I'm not sure how good his chances are as the other team are busy healing up, but oh no, his smokes have failed. He's lost his cover as well.
He's dying to the zone. He's dying to the zone. Yep. So he drops himself out, denies the point to the Bastardos, but they're going to be happy with that. They walk away with a big chicken dinner to start off our semi-finals. It's a 12-1. Fantastic job from Ace late in the game there. They walk away with 12 kills themselves. Influence Rage, they got caught in that house. They had to rotate, and as soon as they did, they didn't check them set snake in the grass. That 1 snake in the grass causing such pain for them, knocking all 4 of them out. Fantastic work from Trace as he pushes his team into a better position. He essentially got 8 points from that play, right? 4 from the placement, going 14 placement points for second instead of 10 for third, and the 4 kill points. So he got 8 points by himself from that play.
According to that end lobby, he only got 3 kills, so it's possible that
no, one of the Bastardos guys got it,
yeah, maybe one of the Bastardos guys not one.
7
I didn't
points,
actually see, but still, it's a lot of points to get by himself, and I mean, that should have been Influence Rage's game. They had a 4-player squad up, there was only 3 players against them, and they were split across 2 different teams, so that should have been theirs for the taking, but the zone goes against them. They can't end up getting out of that house in time, and like I said, check the snake in the grass. The most amazing for me about that game, if you do look back at the highlights here, you can sort of see it on the minimap. Pretty much every single circle movement that we had in that game was a hard shift.
Certainly was, and a lot of them were up to that north. It started off with a shift to the south. The first circle had the military base and the top, or the south of the North Island in play, and then from there it just kept going north and north and north. And that really favoured the Bastardos, who found themselves in a perfect position for most of those circles. The last one, they didn't even have to move that much. They had that blown up car next to a tree, and that was enough cover for them to secure the game.
That said, though, it is weird to see that many big changes, because normally with the circle, or more frequently, I should say, with the circle, not normally, you'll have the bigger circle, and then it shifts, and the small circle is like entirely, like pretty much central where the old one was.
Yeah.
But we had circles starting here and going there and all over the place, so that was my
It
friend.
was a wild ride.
These are circle shifts, as you can see. But yeah, it was a very different sort of circle setup, I suppose, circle phase, I guess. And it's, pardon me, a really interesting start to the group stage as well, as we did have pretty much all of our fan favorites from last stage, or from the group stages, all of our teams who played really, really well over the groups go out early.
Yeah, we had Brazilian Killers. Team Queso also went out pretty early. Red Canids didn't get a lot done either. XG didn't have... They got that one squad wipe, but they didn't really set the world on fire with their first performance. But it is only one game. There is a lot of PUBG Mobile still to be played. There are 12 games for each team to be played, essentially. So they won't be too worried about this.
Yeah.
Brazilian Killers, they know they'll back themselves. So I still think they will definitely get into that top 16.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where you need to be getting yourself. You need to be getting top 16, and then we reset the points again, and then there's 10 games, 10-game showdown, sprint to the finish. And that's where they have to turn up. So
yeah, and like I said, there's not really a big concern for any of these teams. It's just like in the group stages, if you were crazy or... Who else had really poor starts to the group stage? I mean, I guess the teams who went out.
I mean, Team Solid had a pretty poor
Team
start.
Solid had a pretty poor start.
Had a...
Drunks Marines, who are one of our teams who went out.
Yep.
Like, those teams wouldn't have been panicking too much in the first couple of games, and it will indeed be the case for our teams who went out early here, especially our top teams like Brazilian Killers, who got themselves 101 kills across 12 maps in the group stage. They're not going to be too concerned at all. Having a quick look at the scoreboard of that match, we do have the Bastados, who wound up in first place with the chicken dinner and 12 kills. Ace1 right behind them, also with 12.
Well, I talked about XG not setting the world on fire, but they've actually managed to find themselves up into third place, despite finishing around that 5th, 6th mark, just because of the amount of kills they got. They got 8 kills in their way to their 6th placement point, so that's actually a pretty decent performance for them from the first start of the game. Batman, one of our consistent top teams in the group stage, they found them way onto the top of the board as well, 9k. They had that wipe onto, I believe it was Queso they found, or it was a Brazilian Killers, one of the two. They found a top team out pretty quickly. Killers team, who had a really slow start to the group stage, has found themselves there as well, so 5th for them. That's good stuff.
It's 4th in the placement points as well, it's unfortunately 5th. With the kills considered. Crazy down the bottom. We've seen that before. Brazilian Killers going out early. Queso going out early. Red Canids, SvG. Like, a few of our better teams have had a pretty rough start to that one. But again, it's game 1 of day 1 of the semifinals. So it's a fair way to go. But I think Brazilian Killers will want to get into things pretty quickly here, as they were far and away our kill leaders in the first or in the group stage. And they'll be, I think, itching to get back on the hunt.
Yeah, they definitely will, and I want to see them come out with a bit of a vengeance for the next 3 maps that we do have, because that will be exciting stuff. If they get fired up, get a bit of wind under their sails, then we're in for a really exciting day of mobile PUBG.
Yeah, we are, exactly. But we do have 3 more maps, 3 more matches yet to go for you. We'll head into Sanhok as up next, but before we do all of that, we need to take a quick break. So we'll be right back after this with Sanhok and more South American PUBG semifinals.
PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. Anytime, anywhere. There is a better choice. Deathmatch. A quick game for those short breaks. There is a better choice. PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. Endless respawn, endless fun. There is a better choice.
Moving out, I'd say, but they are quite hesitant because they have been sprayed from 2 different angles. As this player is destined to get knocked. He's picking for a little too long. Gets confirmed too. Gets thirsted. Goodbye, sir.
Prove you right or wrong, but, you know. Sounded pretty good. Yeah. Bastardos guys getting up inside this compound and trying to take the fight here. This is, we said it was insulated before. It was not, but it looked like it's going to be knocked out here as they all swing together. They should be able to bring the skills up. There we go. Now,
and climb onto the roof to descend, so probably a smarter move there as the spray comes through the window. That gets a second knock. This starts to go the way of the Batman as they start converging. There's 3 knocked down. The last player alive. He goes out pretty quick.
Gonna get the 1, but there's not going to be any trade possible. That's, yeah,
it's me.
It really is. Really? Is there real? It's stuck between a rock, or well, several rocks and several hard places at this point, and that's them out. That's them out in 9th. It's not what they were looking for there. They do get run over. So much for 4 alive.
It's another gone.
That's... The
he's made it inside the building, but he's forfeited his life to the GI guys. Guardians Imperium collecting a free kill essentially there. This is Bastardos. They're done and dusted as well. There's another one. Team pushes in. Guardians Imperium actually cleaning up here in this stairwell.
What is going on at this
Guardians
point?
Imperium, Killer's team, facing off. 2 versus 2. Nova have 1 player alive. He's going to go for the first 2. That's actually a very handy play.
With the zone right there, that's very... That'd be so much fun.
What we haven't seen though is 404 getting involved in early fights. The first 2 games we saw them very involved in early engagements.
Yeah, I mean,
this game, very quiet.
I guess the trade-off they're making is, sure, they would get...
Vehicles.
Oh,
he gets him out again.
Down,
gets the second, goes for the run over, but no, it's just straight onto the hay bale, slice straight on forward. Goes down.
Yeah, and murdered is not the way you want to go down. Old age, maybe as they...
You don't want to go down.
Old age, maybe as they...
You don't want to go down by
like
a vehicle flip either.
That is a big
Goodness
one.
me, that is...
And this man has 8 kills now, I believe.
Gone. Yeah. Out here, I don't think he's going to have the angle. He has been spotted. He's going to stand up there for the kill, but he can't.
Or long-range kills, if you can, in the early on games. We're here trying to get over that hill. Will he make it? He only got 1 wheel.
As Elementrix try and push in, but they're coming up against Orange Rock, they're coming up against Hydra as well.
He's just waiting.
Aman has already gone down for entities. They've lost 1 of their 3 Snow Snakes.
A few moments later.
Yeah.
Where they have 1 guy who is just waiting in. This might be go time. I don't know if they spotted it out. There's 2 of them right there.
Oh my god, Neo.
Oh come on,
This
he's
guy
gonna
is
go
a
in.
really strong fragger as well.
No way.
Surprise!
He's
Shoot him!
Neo.
He's not part of your team!
Leaky!
Kiki, come on!
He's right there!
You know he's there!
No.
Oh my god!
What is going on?
Oh my
he's
god!
part of the
teammate!
He hasn't chucked it!
Kiki,
it's
Kiki,
the third
please!
person.
He's got it out! Oh, he's gone! Ah! What is happening? Neo! Neo, please!
He's right there!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Hello and welcome back to PMCO 2019. It's Fall Split, and we are taking a look at the South American region. We've just played our first game over on Erangel, first game of the semi-finals, and things didn't quite go as we expected. We had some interesting circle behavior. We had some of our really big hitters from the group stage go out quite early, but it's only one game and things aren't too big of a deal so far. If you have missed any of the games or you want to keep up with everything coming up, you can go over to the PUBG Mobile Esports YouTube channel and drop a subscription. There's a lot of content. I subscribed the other day, and my YouTube subscription feed is just like 80% PUBG Mobile now.
And it's good stuff.
Yeah, there's
fantastic.
There's what, 6 regions? We started with 192 teams, something like that. So there's a lot of PUBG to catch up on. And of course, if you want to play the game, it is free. It's available on both the Google Play Store and the iOS App Store, depending on your phone platform. So all that out of the way, we now move into Sanhok for the first Sanhok of the semis.
Yeah, first Sanhok of the semis, and it's been an interesting map to play out. It hasn't been as many upsets as I thought there would be on Sanhok, actually. I thought there'd be a little bit more volatility to the teams and how they finished up with their placements, but it seems to be pretty consistent. I mean, Brazilian Killers had a pretty good run on Sanhok too. They had some pretty good fights. That one where they jumped off the bridge as 3-man, that was a fantastic fight. So that brings back memories for me, fond memories. And
it was silly, but it worked.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes you got to be crazy enough to pull it off.
Yeah, when I say silly, it was silly to watch, so it looked ridiculous, but
it
was a really good play to make, because it's absolutely going to throw your opponent off guard. They're not expecting 3 of you to drop on them. Like, we've seen drop plays a couple of times, most notably like in a house fight where someone on the top floor will jump out a window and try and backdoor the people on the bottom floor. Probably shouldn't use backdoor when talking about houses, because it makes there's too many doors going on.
Too many doors.
But that's normally like one person who goes behind to try and just flush the enemy team out into potentially getting shot by their teammates who are upstairs or whatever it might be. But in that case for Brazilian Killers, they just straight up sent everyone over the edge. So like, they'll shoot at the one guy and then turn away, and then that's when the other 2 will drop.
Yeah, they just sent 3 off the top of the bridge, and I think it was Team Queso that were around the place there that got knocked out.
Maybe.
Sanhok is a fun map though. I like it a lot. There's a lot of unique weapons on it. There's a lot of unique places on it, and it's a small map, so we get action generally earlier on. We have seen a lot of northwestern circles though finishing up on that island area, so for me that's where I think we're going to get another one of those today. I think that we're going to be treated to a North Island circle or a Northwestern Island circle, and we're going to have a lot of fighting to go with it. This is a fly-through of the beautiful map that is Sanhok. It is set in a jungle-esque time area. It's got the unique weapon on the screen now, the QBU. That is a DMR sniper rifle type deal. This is the map overhead for you. That's a lot of room, a lot of compounds in there to get messy with. As the plane gets another very friendly plane. That is a very friendly plane, as it is going to move almost straight north-south. A lot of teams jumping over now. Paradise Resort is directly underneath you. A beautiful location, but quite a deadly one if you are playing in match-friendly games. A lot of teams try and drop there and get into it. Of course, we have Booty C, where teams like to be, especially early on in the game. If you dominate Booty C, then you get yourself some fat loot going out of it.
I'm not sure how I feel about Booty C. I'll be honest with you.
It's fantastic.
If anyone has literally no idea what Smash is talking about, boot camp, Booty C, it's kind of the idea. I'm not sure how to feel about it, but either way, we have a pretty even distribution of teams spread everywhere. Nobody onto the Northwest Island just yet. Nobody loots over there, really. And I mean, you don't really want to have your default looting location be an island anyway. You've got to deal with bridges straight up.
My Northwestern circle, or my Northwestern hypothesis
is wrong.
It's absolutely wrong. It's completely wrong.
Northeastern circle.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a northeastern circle. It's actually almost beautifully hugging the coast of the northeast. So a lot of the center of the zone is in play too. We've got boot camp. We've got Paradise, which is a very fun ending zone if we do manage to find ourselves there at the end of the game. Also got some interesting little crossroads and compounds. As one of the 9K players has taken a tumble early on. He might have found himself off the edge of a cliff or fallen out of a vehicular.
Don't recommend either of those.
No, generally I like to stay with my 2 feet on the ground, safely, not moving at too fast a speed.
And then when you're in a car, just wear your seatbelt. Don't open the door while you're traveling at high speeds.
Oh, of course. Keep yourself strapped in, keep the doors nice and closed.
This has been your general safety briefing featuring Brainstorm and Smash.
Yeah, if you haven't been in a car before, generally you want to keep the doors closed when you are moving and the seatbelt on.
Just reminded of like the genie with the magic carpet from Aladdin. Please keep all hands and feet inside the carpet. Exits are here, everywhere.
Yep. Well,
Except don't exit everywhere from a car. Anyway, that aside, we have looting going on at the minute. Having a look at the Ace guys who are spread across a couple of compounds here. They've got pretty much the entire village to themselves to loot.
it's not a bad place to be.
Here's the Booty C.
This isn't Booty C, is it?
It was.
It was.
The camera swapped just as I say.
Okay.
Riala and...
We got Real. We got Red Canids in there as well.
yeah, no,
Real
Riala
and
in boot camp, which is
Red
where we
Canids,
were,
so-
and then it hard shifted on me. So.
Well, Real have decided they've seen the Red Canids and they don't like the look of that, so they have rotated a little bit north. They've gotten out of the Booty Sea.
I promise they were there.
They were at one stage, yeah. I've seen them rotate north of it. I saw her. It's fine. So teams have managed to find themselves individual loot locations, which is quite rare on Sanhok, because usually we see teams squabble over either the Booty Sea or one of those major towns like Painem, or even Ruins has been a bit of a hotspot as well. So good to see that teams have sorted themselves out and kind of come to a gentleman's agreement. Paradise is pretty open and empty at the moment. I imagine one of the teams was there previously, as it's too good to refuse. Who could turn down a trip to the Paradise Resort?
I could if I knew there were going to be 99 other people there with guns trying to kill each other. But other than that, absolutely, I'd love it.
Yeah, I think that might turn me off a little bit of it, but I'd fancy my chances.
You reckon?
I'd back myself, yeah.
You reckon you go alright in a battle royale situation?
Oh no, I'd be rubbish. I'd be hopeless.
I reckon. Yeah, I reckon like surely the stress of it all would get to you before anything else.
Probably. Seems it would be a rough mental warfare game, and
This is why we play it on
Just don't know how to
phones
crack
and
it,
not
yep.
actually do it.
yeah, no, it's a terrible idea to actually do it. So if any state governments, local governments,
I mean,
wanna give
I
it a
would
crack.
like to try like a paintball style.
A paintball style battle
like-
royale might be nice.
I guess for I don't know how big a thing paintball is everywhere else, but airsoft would be the other one.
Yeah, airsoft
That's
is
not legal in Australia, unfortunately, but
We have laser tag as well if you really wanted to get messy with it.
there
but-
is some really cool immersive laser tag you can do.
Yeah.
With, like accurately weighted weapons and stuff. I've done that before. In a jail, funnily enough. It was crazy. Either way, having a look at XG here, getting some looting and some vehicles together. It's been a very slow start to Sanhok so far. 4.5 minutes and no contact. And for the South American region as a whole, 4.5 minutes with no contact is very standard, as they have been slower starters to everything. But again, you got to remember, this map is a quarter of the size of the map we just played, of Erangel. Also a quarter of the size of Miramar. So it's a
You'd
little bit
expect them
rare
to
to see things be this quiet for so long. Well,
Well-
it looks like we will have our first potential fight coming in now, as the Bastardos are moving in on foot on the compound that XG currently inhabit.
This is two of the big wigs going at it early on. The angle could be found here, but he's walked straight
That's
to a spray. He's already been confirmed to and
very
thirsted.
Aggressive.
XG already starting off on the wrong foot, as two of their players have been knocked and rocked. Thirsted as well. They are done, as they are chasing down the rest of this XG squad. The third one
Oh,
goes
God.
down, and this could be them going out pretty early stuff. The last man alive goes down too. He was found out by Real, so that's already XG gone.
That's not the start they were looking for there as well. I'm guessing Paris's mindset, the first player we saw, was that they hadn't seen him. He thought he might be able to sneak
Yeah, he
out
thought
and,
he'd get the angle.
and just get them all down, because like they didn't. Technically, I guess they wouldn't have known, as XG were making that much noise when they walked in,
Yep.
but they were clearly ready for it, and it's not really what you want to happen. Bastardos now inhabit that compound, and they will get into a fight with Real, who were third-partying their engagement before.
Yeah, they did manage to find the last player of XG's.
Oh, Matos crawled in front of the door.
You can't be doing that. You gotta check your windows. Lock the windows up, mate. You can't be letting strangers peek in. You never know what could happen. You could wear an M4 bullet to the face. That's just about what's happened.
Team Quesos looked like they were coming up behind for a second there. Let's have a look on the map. Yeah, they're getting involved in this area as well. So, goodness me. Bastardos nearly cop another knock there. They do get the res off, but Real do have them pinned down inside this building, keeping them away from the windows and doors, at least for now.
It's the way it's got to be sometimes. They'll be hoping that another squad comes up and here's Real shooting and rattling off these shots and comes to their rescue. The Bastardos guys. It often can be the way if you just poke around and you bait out a few shots from the other squad that's on high, then they can get third party pretty easily. As things have settled down a little bit, the circle is starting to move in, starting to progress, which will force everyone up in together. The Loops guys have finished looting the docks, which was one of the further locations away, and they've found themselves in the circle pretty calmly, as they are running almost in tandem with the Influence Rage guys. The on board with Killer's team now. That is a rough backpack to be hiding out in the dirt or the grass with.
Yeah, but you have a friend.
Purple. Yeah, I guess you have a friend, but
That's
that friend isn't going to help you too much in a gunfight.
You're right. He
Pretty
probably
useless.
isn't, but
So, Killer's team just waiting for Team Queso. We've got Ayla on Team Queso, who has been the star player for them.
Axial's been very good for them as well.
Yep, Axial and Ayla were both pretty good players. I think Ayla ended up being their top fragger.
I'm not actually sure which out of him and Axel would have been higher up, but they both would have been very, very close to each other, as Axial had himself some very big games in sort of a last man alive situation. We do have only one team still outside the circle now. It's the Disturb Boys in the southwest, and they are rotating in now. So looks like, even though this is quite a small map, the first circle is still comparatively large, and I don't think we'll really have any engagements here. It looks like Real is still pinning down potentially that team.
Yeah, they're
they were
still
shooting at
just
before.
keeping...
Bastados, I think. It's hard to tell based on the map, but yeah, they are. Well, I mean,
Yeah, they're just
I
keeping
love
an
how
eye.
I'm looking at the map saying it's hard to tell based on the map. Meanwhile, our lovely observers have just swapped them for us so we can see.
They have.
So, got to look at both screens, not just one.
So, not that much action kicking off yet. There is still a little bit before this circle does finally encroach. 8:45 on the clock. Has gone. We've already lost one team. So already at the start of these semi-finals, we've seen a lot more action out of the South American region than we had previously in the groups. Don't know if that's just good fortune for us or if that's a sign of things to come.
Yeah, maybe they're just starting to turn up the pace a little bit. I mean, the thing that'll be interesting for me is when we get into the finals. So all of our teams played 12 games in the group stage, and that was against a rotating list of opponents. Yep. This time we've got a set rotation of opponents. E versus F, which is today. E versus G tomorrow. F versus G the day after. Then we do it all again. But when we get to the finals, we've only got 16 teams left. It's one lobby. So the exact same players will be playing each other on the exact same maps for 10 games straight. And that's where I think things could get interesting with overlapping loot locations, maybe some hot dropping as teams start to figure each other out. Because that'll be the highest percentage that we've had of teams playing each other. We've got an AWM with no scope in there, but there is full level 3s, so that's nice. However, I'm not even sure it's retrievable up there on the roof.
No, you can do some parkour jumps to get up on roofs around on this map, so I'm pretty sure that one will be retrievable. We have someone who have to go clean the gutters to get it. As the circle has shifted very central, so we could see ourselves a very quiet time, as only two teams really need to get into it. Ace on the northern side are kind of poking around, having a look, seeing where they can get in. There are some teams that might look to go further into the circle. Batmen, PDZ, they are two of the more likely candidates to do that. But Crazy on the eastern side of the circle, they've got nobody really in front of them, so they should just be able to run in out of Camp Bravo into the circle pretty calmly. As we are on board with Ayla crawling around, putting some work in.
Getting his step counter up.
One his crawl counter up. Yeah, I mean, would that even work?
I mean, it's generally based on movement and not
actual.
It's like it's not a GPS thing, because that could be spoofed. I mean, you can also just shake your phone and it gives you a bunch of steps if you're really into not doing anything physical for the day, yet wanting to look like you did. But I think it would count. I mean, I'm not about to go lie on the floor of the studio with my phone in my pocket and try it out, but
that'd be a good laugh.
It would. It would also be out of camera shot, so wouldn't be quite as fun.
Well, it'd be a good laugh for me still.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe later.
Maybe you could crawl on the desk.
It's not big enough for that, mate. I mean, maybe. Should I worry about fitting under the rail would be the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And wouldn't want to crawl on top of our monitors or of our notes or any of that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's
and all the fancy advertising. And
yeah, no, you don't want to ruin it.
Don't want to ruin the set and all the lovely backlights and everything that we got. Either way, I mean, look, we're kind of just... I promise you're not missing anything important. We will keep you informed, but right now it's just teams holding their positions. This stalemate between Bastados and Real has been going on for 7 minutes now. There was a bit of gunfire and one knock exchange at the start, and since then nobody has moved. And again, no one's really going to until the circle forces them to, especially in these early games. The stakes are high, but given that it is the first game of the semifinals. The stakes are not so high that you need to do something rash. You don't need to be making any big risky plays.
One man just pushed up a little bit too far and got himself caught out.
As I say that.
There's a man proning, I believe it was, yeah, it is paralyzed from the Brazilian killers. So they found themselves not in the crosshairs of Real for half a second, and they've already started some mischief, as that is a nice little underarm Molotov. I won't quite catch the knock or where it was, as he has crawled away safely. Just looking for that down player,
Yes.
trying to
doing some quick parkour on the rock, trying desperately to find the guy crawling, but he's
secure
not
that kill.
going to find it. Disturbed here, split up with players on both sides of the river.
That's danger.
Danger
Being
will
played
roll
out, because as soon as that one knock comes in, you know the Brazilian killers are going to be keen. They're going to be hungry for some action. Did they see that play across? I don't think they did. I think they're on the wrong side of the hill to find it.
The interesting part for me will be what that player on the other side of the bridge has. If he's got like a DMR or a sniper or something, he could do some serious damage if Brazilian killers are baited into the push on his teammates.
I think they are wise to him.
A fair way across there.
Yeah, they are. The Brazilian killers are wise to him. I believe they were just rattling off some shots towards that player's direction that was across the other side. So I don't think they'll be caught out by him. Throws a Molotov, jumps behind a rock. Not too safe though, as one of the DT players does get knocked again. He has found the angle. That's the first. That's the confirm. He get a point for Swagwin. Swagwin.
Guess it's like a
Swaggy
penguin,
or
but
something?
yeah. I suppose so. Disturbed here trying to disengage and catching a lot of fire from Brazilian killers as they do it. The zone now moving in. You can see it across the river there coming on its way. It's about to touch the circle though, so the zone will stop in just a moment and we'll see where it's going to end up. It's going to shift quite central. Boot camp still in, the north of Quarry still in, a lot of open space in the middle there as Brazilian killers have had enough of this. They are pushing onto Disturbed, and this is that sort of aggression that we've seen from them numerous times throughout PMCO so far.
Yeah, Minsk found the nice off angle there to get that knock. So that is 2 down, all ready for the side of Disturbed, as Brazilian killers have fought off the attack or the push from them and have forced them away into retreat. So they'll have a hard time rotating in, as one of the Disturbed players does answer with a knock onto the Brazilian killer's side, but that's scary stuff for him because he has given up his position. He's going to go for the thirst. No, he went for the trade, but
there we go.
Didn't manage to get it. That is a 3rd play down. So now it's only that player that was across the other end of the river, and he's decided, I don't want any of this silly business, as we have had the circle shift in the meantime, not the moon time. Bootcamp still in the mix. Quarry still in the mix. There's a lot of teams now getting right on top of each other. So the action is about to break out. It is going hard and fast as PDZ have already started off. And they've found Ace trying to rotate in.
And it's Trace, who was the hero of the last game. I mean, that's actually... I know it wasn't PDZ who were in the final circle, was it?
No, it was Influence Rage.
No, that's right. I was going to say, it might be personal for them, but no, it's the wrong team. Either way, Ace is copying a lot of damage here. Kaiser's on 1 HP, essentially. So things not looking too good for them, as they are now starting to get third-partied. Bullets coming in from multiple directions. PDZ spamming the smoke. Won't be rewarded for it just yet, but
certainly won't yet.
There's a lot of teams starting to move in now, and having a look at the map, there's a lot of teams in this eastern compound or eastern cluster of compounds as well. So we should have a lot of gunfights starting off here as TQ are walking into a potential trap. There's 4 players of KST waiting for them to move up, and yeah, nothing they can do there.
Rail him. Yeah, good night, Irene, from you, son.
Ambush.
So now the rest of Team Queso have to decide a rotation that isn't through that area, as there were 4 snakes in the grass essentially waiting for them. This road is hotly contested. Either side of this road is packed with squads ready to rain out fire. Brazilian killers have found themselves on an island essentially, alone, just south of boot camp, as the Batmen are rotating north with lots of room for activities as well. So there is a lot of room in this circle, but the teams are choosing not to use it. They're choosing to fight each other instead. This PDZ Ace fight is going to go on for a little bit longer. As you can see, the spray is coming out, but those rocks will protect the side of Ace. Kaiser taking a few peeks too. Then he wants to get some sprays into the windows, see if he can find the right timing to get a knock. As this is the 6 times on the M4. Not a bad combination to have.
Ace with a couple of their players stuck in a smoke, and as soon as he takes a step out of it, he's going to be dropped down immediately. It's pretty much always the way that was going to go, really. There's so many players looking at those smokes just ready to spam them down. Kaiser doing his best to try to find a line. Gets a lot of bullets on, but None of them will connect. Didn't do too much damage.
That's Tress is down for his second knock, or maybe he's
I think it might be his third knock.
So he is bleeding out very quickly. One of the boys is going to have to get across and help his homie real quick as the mad dash does come in. Ooh, pump those legs, mate. Doc, yeah, he's dipping and weaving. It's good stuff. He's managed to get right up there and pick up his teammate as Kaiser rotates to a different rock, but that means he's on a new angle and does get headshot on the way through. So he's a little bit worse for wear. Ace are really struggling now. As new circle now appears on the top right hand of your screen, Red Canids and SvG find themselves still in the middle of it. Brazilian Killers are working their way up too. They are pretty much free to rotate wherever they want at the moment, as this eastern side of the circle is the one that's jam-packed full of action that we still see these fights going out. Trace, if you get knocked once more, buddy, I don't think your team is going to want to help you up.
It's like, mate, come on. You've been a bullet sponge all day. Let's figure it out. It's a very central shift for the circle, and Crazy should be getting a free knock and confirm here.
Yeah,
what a fire coming in from elsewhere, though. It's actually TQ who are spraying from a distance.
That's annoying. A big third party. That is very annoying, as you've seen the player, you've knocked him, but you can't finish it off because there's a pesky other team on the other side of the mountain. Oh, jeez, he's getting very low. Smorg needs to check himself before he wrecks himself. As a fight actually does break out, and this is the side of Brazilian Killers versus 9K. 9K have been giant slayers so far in the semi-finals. Can they keep that up? This could even be a repeat fight from last game. They are very aggressive, 9K. They're getting right into it. And they've already found one of the Brazilian Killers just having a nap.
Yeah, that will be a dirt nap in the end, as he will be confirmed, or should be. That molly should be good enough if the bullets don't get it done. No, the molly's actually a little bit too deep, but surely some of those grenades will get it done. He's actually just going to go down anyway.
Just too far. Another Brazilian Killer player down.
Paralyze is about to go down as well. There's way too many players.
They're already knocked out. That's 15th again for them?
Yeah. I mean, look, we were saying that these early game results aren't too impactful if you don't have a great start, but you don't really want to be Brazilian Killers getting a double 15th when they did have such a good group stage. Either way, no. Although, no more point talking about them this game as they're out. We've still got Crazy who is stuck in the zone and had to rotate out. A couple of those INF players got to do the same, and generally, a lot of teams are yet to make it into the zone or into the circle.
Yeah, one of the Crazy players does go down. He won't be able to get picked up just because the zone is pretty strong right now. Another Crazy man goes down. You are crazy if you're in that zone. As Crazy are starting to get into the back of loops and put some pressure on. That will be a knock and thirst from one of the Crazy players, but his position has been given up now, so he needs to get out of dodge and find himself somewhere to heal and probably reload his gun too. That thing needs bullets to work. As more action now breaks out, we're down to 14 teams, so we have had another team vanish. As Crazy players are starting, the Crazy players that fell to the zone are starting to now perish. Influence Rage still has one man in there, but he seems to have had a lot of meds, so he's about to survive. Loops is guarding the edge now. They know that something crazy is going down in that direction.
Boo.
And indeed, it is.
The zone is going to be helping them out here in every single fight that they take, but of course they too are suffering to it outside right now, so Loops don't want to hang around out here for too much longer, as much as they want to edge guard.
This is some real edge guarding at the moment. Is Real are edge guarding Loops, who are edge guarding Crazy, so a lot of bullying going on, and Loops are taking the brunt of it with that damage from the zone being taken, as Ace are getting camped out now by Team Queso, was previously Real, giving them a bit of problems. So Team Queso now collecting themselves some nice points as Influence Rage does get knocked out, apparently. I didn't see the end of that fight. Crazy as well, they're going down pretty quickly. I believe that's them gone. It is indeed our production team confirming that. Loops now the next team in a lot of trouble, as that zone is starting to do a lot of damage as Team Queso are starting to answer back onto the board.
It's also worth noting that the second zone is moving again, so Loops, having just got out of the zone, are now potentially about to be straight back in it as the next one is following them very quickly. You can see it here on Black Hammer from Killer's team. That zone is coming in just about as fast as he can run. He'll stow both his guns in order to get away from it, but Batman, they're going to lose that player. Nothing can be done with him in the zone. Team Queso are out. Disturbed are gone. All of a sudden, everyone is getting knocked. PTZ are being forced into the open by the zone pushing in here. That'll be those two players outside the zone there on your screen will go down. There's no way they'll be resable.
certainly won't be resable, as now PDZ are under a lot of pressure. This zone is going to take a lot of damage, a lot of health off you if you move in, as that could be them done and dusted. It is. We are down to the final 8. As more Real players are getting knocked over and over again. This is getting rather rough for them, as this rotation on the south side isn't panning out for them.
That circle, by the way, is pretty much entirely around SvG's compound.
It certainly is. SvG, one of the teams that need a little bit of fortune to go their way, as I believe the Loops player has died to the zone, and that will mark the end of them. KST, they are pushing in now. The nades rolling out. Lots of pressure coming out as the Batmen are taking the zone to the face too. Bastardos only 2 up, so our previous winners. Not the hottest at the moment. 9K looking good, but it is Red Canids 9K, SvG, Real, Killers team looking up with a good amount of players. 3 players is a pretty healthy amount of players at this stage of the game. Bastardos and Batman are struggling a little bit, so they're going to look for as many third-party engagements as they can get. If they can find themselves into the zone, which, as you said, has moved directly north onto SvG, who are controlling a lot of land.
And there's still a lot of players alive to be this late in the game as well. We're at 23 minutes in, 7 teams remaining, 23 alive. That is changing very rapidly, though, as gunfights do break out. There's a lot of players who are yet to get inside that circle, and a lot who are trying to come at it from exactly the same way. Smokes are down, but bullets are flying through them. Batman here on your screens are trying to get some recovering happen, or some reviving happening, as there's multiple other players also for Killer's team who are down as well. In the meantime, more fighting continuing in that kill feed. I believe that Killer's team we just lost, or no, we're about to.
No, it was Real that we lost earlier. Put a fork in them. They are done, as Red are putting a lot of hurt onto Killer's team. Law from the Bastardos is healing in the blue. He's going to push around the corner. He will find the player using the first aid kit, and that will be the last player Red Canids knocked out. That is the last player of Bastardos as well, getting knocked and done. So we are out to our final 4. 1 Snake from Killer's team, a few men from the Batman squad. SvG and 9K are still 4 strong, as that is a knock and a finish. Killer's team are done. It is the Batman up against the wall. SvG have found them. The double spray almost comes out. It does come out, actually.
So that's Batman down as well. It's down to our 2 4-man lineups. Team v team.
It starts to get very exciting as we get a 4v4 engagement.
9K will get the first knock onto SvG. Both teams hold up inside opposing huts at the minute. 9K look like they might go for the confirm here in the thirst. Try and knock down this player. It's actually Guardian is going to grab it. Dursog here needs to be careful, as there is a player directly across the way from him who could find a bit of an angle from the road, but so far, so good. We are all safe here on 9K. And still with 4 players up as well, while they've done some decent damage to their opponents. That's a great nade as well.
This could be time to push in. This could signal the push in. There is another player in that building, so he can get revived relatively quickly. There's also a nice little crossfire here, so if they try and cross the street, this player has a nice angle to just rain hell from the side.
And that's really the only hope that SvG have here. If 9K run blindly into the crossfire and just get minced, that's probably a game win for them. But if 9K play this one carefully, if they get anyone to peek and get some damage off, then they will know about at least half of the crossfire. They know where one guy is because
stuck in this house, and the Molotov is there too. So 9K are burning alive.
Oh,
some rough stuff. Is that a team molly, or is that an SvG molly? I'm not sure.
Surely SvG. I didn't even look at the team prefix on the first name because my brain went, there's no way that's a team molly. Either way, it is now SvG on the push, trying to finish things here. 9K are trying to get their revives happening, but they're going to go out a little bit too far. There's a knock
This is
from
the last
Nitsu.
player.
Yeah, he's holding this one down. Kakko wants to go for this push as well. It's not looking too good for 9K, but they do stay alive. They do keep fighting just. They still have 2 up. SvG's trying to get into this window here, and Nitsu, and he knows how much pressure he's under. They're even going to double push him. They're running through the zone, and they will indeed get him from behind just about. A very near thing for 9K, but they hold onto it, and a big chicken dinner for them. That's, what, 12 kills all up? That's a good score for them to come through with.
That's a chicken dinner with all the trimmings to go. Anything over 10, I reckon, is all the trimmings. A little bit of roast potatoes in there, some veg.
Thank you for clarifying. I was about to ask what trimmings you have on a chicken dinner.
Well, a nice big chicken dinner, mate. You gotta have some roast spuds in there.
Oh yeah, no, I just wasn't familiar with it. I thought trimmings was just like, I don't know, garnishes and whatnot.
Oh, I could be all the garnishes.
I actually don't know. That's why I was asking for clarity. So thank you for clarifying.
SvG, they have a very good result as they were our 24th place team heading into the semi-finals. So they found themselves with 9 points early on to go with. The Batmen have found themselves in 3rd position as well, so that's a good start from them. But for Stardos finishing 1st in the first game and then 5th in the second game, so they've well and truly cemented their place at the top of the board. KST, they've done well, getting themselves up the board. So it's a redemption story here for a few teams who didn't have the most exciting group stages.
That said, it's a redemption story for a few teams, and it's definitely not that for a few other. For instance, the Brazilian Killers. Far and away our point leaders of the group stage, who have now gone out in 15th place 2 games, back to back. Again, it's way too early to worry about any of this stuff because we're a long way from eliminating teams, but it's worth picking these things out as we do need to keep an eye on that. They were easily our most dominant team.
They certainly were, but not so dominant today. Maybe they're just having an off day. They still have plenty of time to regroup and get it back on track, but not a great start from them. They've managed to get 3 kills. So they got 4 points total for the game. So they'll be sitting at 5 points total, I believe, over the day so far, which is a far cry away from their first group stages performance.
Yeah, no, that's some much stronger showings in the group stage for sure.
Yeah, there is still another 14 games for them to play essentially. So there's still a large sample size to go through. The other teams that were big ones that went out early, I didn't see a lot from XG. They had a few fights here and there. Team Queso had a lot of kills, but I don't think they got many placement points. They might have even gone out in 12th. So there's a lot to work for the big teams, but it is actually the little fish that are coming out biting today, as the teams that have been placing from about 20th to 24th have been putting up better results than 1 to 4.
And the thing with that is, sure, if this was still last stage, or if points carried over, right? Like if we started this stage and, you know, Brazilian Killers is still on 199 and whatever, then we're fine. But there is no bias left from the previous stage. The only advantage you have from the previous stage is that you've made it to this stage. Like the fact that you weren't eliminated is the only thing that you can still have from the group stage. All the points have been wiped, everything, all the history doesn't matter anymore. So Brazilian Killers, they've started at an amazing group stage. Probably one of the biggest performances across the entire PMCO.
They still have a bit of North America to play out, and Cloud9 could upset that because they got 94 in the first day. But
well, there you go. But either way, it doesn't mean anything in the semi-finals, as they're still sitting in double 15th. They'll be sitting right down the bottom.
Round about last place. Even maybe Crazy beats them out to the last place post.
Beats them with a punch of last place.
Yeah, but I mean, it is a rough start, but we saw 3 of their players in the top 5 killers for the group stage, so I have full faith that they'll bounce back.
Oh, I'd be very surprised if they didn't, given how good their group stage actually was. So, look, at this rate, they probably are not going to do too well on day 1, even if they do manage to have a good comeback in the next couple of games, just they've started out really rough.
That's a big chicken dinner.
That is a big chicken dinner. 33 points in total for 9K. They'll be happy with that. 13 kills for it, 5 for SvG, 6 for the Batman, 7 for Killer's team. So pretty even kill distribution across the top 6.
Yep.
And things start to drop off pretty quickly. Loops coming at 8th, only with 4 placement points, but I mean, they were in a pretty rough position there. They were edge guarding the zone. They were stuck in the zone. They had another team behind them cutting off their rotation. It was a pretty difficult situation to be in and to get out of. But I think they'll still be happy. They've got themselves some points on the board. And as we have a look at the bottom half of the table here in a second, that'll be, I think, the interesting one. I think you'll be right about Brazilian Killers being... Well, I mean, we know they finished in 15th. They'll probably wind up, I'd say, like 11th or 12th.
Yeah, they did get a few kills. Yeah, they got 3 kills onto the side of... I can't remember who they actually started killing for the moment there. It could have been Disturbed, actually.
There you go.
Yeah, so XG went out with only 1 placement point to their name, so they had a rough one. Crazy managed to get 2 kills, so congratulations, Crazy. Ace had a fantastic game 1. Game 2 couldn't back it up. Team Queso going out with 4 points as well. So there's some big names on that board. 10th, 11th, 12th, all struggling. But this is the updated leaderboard, as we have Bastardos clear on top, 6 points ahead. 9K with that big chicken dinner have found themselves into 2nd place. Ace 1, Killer's team, Batman, all up in the top 5. SvG, our 24th place going into the day, have found themselves into 6th. So they were the lowest seed going into the semi-finals, but they're finding themselves having a fantastic day 1. Real and XG round out the top 8.
And having a look at the bottom side of things.
Right.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, you're right. It is indeed the Brazilian Killers who currently sit in 15th. Crazy, 1 point below them in 16th. So, I mean, Crazy, they started out the group stage down the bottom as well. Brazilian Killers certainly didn't, but again, there's a lot of time to come back into things. We saw quite a few late stage, I suppose, comebacks over the last day of play that some of these teams had, that they did manage to get, you know, some decent placings on the board, some kills on the board, and move up in those points just a little bit. But, I mean, it's weird for the Brazilian Killers team so low, but it's not anything to be concerned about just yet. We're still pretty early into proceedings for the semifinals. That said, we still do have 2 more games of the day. I believe after this we go to Vikendi for map number 3, and then back to Erangel for map 4. But either way, we have to do a bit of a break first, take a bit of a break, give the teams a chance to recharge. So we'll be back very soon with map numbers 3 and 4 for PMCO 2019 here in South America. We'll see you in a bit.
I'd say, but they are quite hesitant because they have been sprayed from 2 different angles, as this player is destined to get knocked. He's peeking for a little too long, gets confirmed too, gets thirsted. Goodbye, sir.
Prove you're right or wrong, but, you know, sounded pretty good. Yeah. Bastados guys getting up inside this compound and trying to take the fight here. This is, we said it was insulated before. It was not, but it looked like it's going to be knocked out here as they all swing together. They should be able to clean the skills up. There we go. Now
and climb onto the roof to descend, so probably a smarter move there as the spray comes through the window. That gets a second knock. This starts to go the way of the Batman as they start converging. There's 3 knocked down. The last player alive. He goes out pretty quick.
Gonna get the 1, but there's not going to be any trade possible. That's, yeah,
it's me.
Look, it really is. It's stuck between a rock, or well, several rocks and several hard places at this point, and that's them out. That's them out in 9th. It's not what they were looking for there. They do get run over. So much for 4 alive.
It's another gone.
That's the
Bastados guys are going to be building, but he's forfeited his life to the GI guys. Guardians Imperium collecting a free kill essentially there. This is Bastados. They're done and dusted as well. Another one, team pushes in. Guardians Imperium actually cleaning up here in this stairwell.
What is going on at this
Guardians
point?
Imperium, Killer's team, facing off. 2 versus 2. Nova had 1 player alive. He's going to go for the first 2. That's actually a very handy play.
With the zone right there, that's very... That'd be so much fun.
What we haven't seen though is 404 getting involved in early fights. The first 2 games we saw them very involved in early engagements.
Yeah, I mean,
this game, very quiet.
I guess the trade-off they're making is, sure, they would go...
Vehicles.
Oh,
he gets him out again.
Down,
gets the second, goes to the run over, but no, it's just straight onto the hay bales, fly straight on forward. Goes down.
Yeah, and murdered is not the way you want to go down. Old age, maybe as they...
You don't want to go down.
old age, maybe as they.
You don't want to go down
Don't
by
like
a
that,
vehicle
no,
flip
no.
either.
That is a big
Goodness
one.
me, that is.
And this man has
PDZ
8
knocked
kills
out
now, I
and
believe.
gone, yeah. Really out here, I don't think he's going to have the angle.
Oh,
Indeed,
he
he
is
has been spotted. He's going to stand up there for the kill, but he can't.
Or long range kills, if you can, in the early on games. We're here trying to get over that hill. Will he make it? He only got one wheel.
Elementrix try and push in, but they're coming up against Orange Rock. They're coming up against Hydra as well.
He's just waiting.
Aman has already gone down for entities. They've lost one of their 3 Snowblow Snakes.
A few moments later.
Yeah.
Where they have one guy who is just waiting in.
Poo-poo
This
man.
might be go time. I don't know if they spotted it out. There's 2 of them right there.
Oh my god, Neo.
Oh come on,
This
he's
guy
gonna
is
go
a
in.
really strong fragger as well.
No way. He's
Shoot him!
Neo.
He's not part of your team!
Linky!
Kiki!
Kiki!
He's right there!
You know he's there!
No. Oh my god!
What is going on?
Oh,
my
he's
god!
part of the team, mate!
He hasn't chucked it!
Kiki,
it's
Kiki,
a third
please!
person.
He's put it out! Oh, he's gone! Ah! What is happening? Neo! Neo, please!
He's right there!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Welcome back to PMCO 2019, South American Region of the Fall Split. My name is Erangel. I'm joined, as usual, by Smash. Lucky me.
Yeah. Lucky.
We have already...
I'm the lucky one here, mate.
Oh, you make me blush, mate. Wait until we're off camera.
All right.
I'm going to blush through my makeup. Either way, we do have 2 games still to go for the night. We've already had our first 2. If you missed them or any of the other games, you can, of course, catch it all on YouTube over at the PUBG Mobile Esports YouTube channel. Go over and subscribe to keep up with all of our regions and in all languages as well. If for some reason you're watching the English broadcast and English is not a language you're so strong in, then all the other languages are there. It's broadcast in, I don't even know how many languages, but judging by the amount of videos that are in my YouTube feed, that's
11,
a lot.
11
so... 11?
11-teen.
11-teen. Roughly 11-teen. There you go. So if you want to catch any other foreign language broadcast, you can do that as well, or you can send it to your friends who might not speak English. I don't know. Whatever. It's all there. You can watch it. Do that. And of course, if you want to play the game, it's available for free. You can get PUBG Mobile on the Google Play Store or the iOS App Store. Get in on the action. So there you go. You've now got things to keep you on your phone for the next 20 hours between watching it all and playing the game. So hope you didn't want a social life, but
20 hours? I could go way longer than 20 hours on that.
Oh, I mean, me too.
The amount of content there, it's fantastic, and the game itself is
all right, 20
beautiful.
give or take.
20
an extra
years,
60.
Mate, 20 years.
All right, cool. It's 20 years of content. Fine. Either way, we do have 2 maps left to go. I believe we move into Vikendi after this, and then Erangel to finish. So, look, it'll be interesting. I mean, a map rotation is slightly different this time to what we had in the group stages. We now have 3 maps to stay the same instead of 2. We previously had Erangel, and then 2 in the middle that would change out. Now we have Erangel, Sanhok, either Miramar or Vikendi, and then Erangel again. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Erangel, a lot of Sanhok. We've got Vikendi today. We'll have Miramar tomorrow.
Yeah, Vikendi is a quite exciting map too. So we've seen some stuff out of it. We've seen 2 pretty quick games too out of the side of the South American semifinals at the start. So that's promising signs that we'll have Dino Park. We're not going to get a Dino Park. So we've had some close ones, but we're just not going to get it.
Oh.
It just doesn't exist.
All right.
The dinosaurs, they're extinct for a reason, mate. The blue got them. the blue really did do them dirty.
Instead of a meteorite or something that came, it's just the blue zone. Just
blue zone.
Just washed over the planet. All right. Well, I guess we're teaching you very accurate history as well as everything else that we end up talking about at random points.
Yeah, no.
There you go. It was the blue zone did the dinosaurs. Excellent.
Certainly did.
With that, let's transition into the map, shall we?
Yeah, we do.
So we have a plane here. It's
Big
actually,
red.
Isn't it Big Red? This is a very northern plane path as well. We're cutting across the northern quarter or so of the map, I would say, starting with
Yeah, it's a very rude plane going over the top of the Cosmodrome. Not a lot of drop zones in there. Gorokka again in the picture, so that's a good start. I mean, Gorokka's
a lot of people
pretty.
going to Cosmodrome today.
Yeah, a lot of interesting drops. I mean, you can get to Dino Park from this plane. You might have to do the last couple of meters on foot, but that's all right because you're not allowed to parachute into Dino Park. You need to buy a ticket.
Always the ticket thing.
Well, it's important to respect the entertainment business, Tim. And the entertainers inside Dino Park, they need a fair wage. And if you get a fair wage, you need to earn money. As we see a beautiful parachute actually coming out here. He's got the cleanest fit.
That's so bright.
That's obnoxious. Oh, actually, that's a clean fit too.
Oh, I like the inspector sort of getup.
Yeah, he's got the white glove as well.
I'm not sure what's going on in his face there, but
he's got a mask on, which is unfortunate because can't go to a ball. I suppose it could be a masquerade or something. But this is a silly outfit.
That outfit, I just saw someone at...
Was it TwitchCon?
I think it was TwitchCon. Someone won that outfit and they were rolling around in it. To be honest, I'd wear that.
Oh, oath, I'd wear that.
I'd wear that like happily. I mean, not only just in my day-to-day life, I'd wear that. That'd be imagine rocking on that on broadcast.
Yeah, that'd look fantastic. Production might hate you, but that's fine.
No, it's fine. Production
Has
loves bright colours.
Has he got a samurai sword on his back too, Sennabi?
Yes.
He was actually rocking some really swagged out loot there. So congratulations, Sennabi. You are the best dressed of today. But that is an interesting outfit to choose to go on to Vikendi.
Yeah, you're going to stand out against the snow.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
So the circle has popped. It is a little bit rude, I guess. It is a far eastern circle. The Mount Kresnik is on the western side of it, and on the eastern side is Peshkova and the coast. Only a little bit of water in play, so teams shouldn't be too upset. Southern side castle is inside the circle, but it won't be for much longer. So teams can rotate over the castle bridges if they choose to. It is on the western little well, I guess you'd call it an island because there is water that is cutting it off. But
technically, it's an island.
technically, but it is like the water is very thin, and there's probably parts that are iced over. And so we've pulled up on the snowmobile and already got a knock. One of the Batman players.
It's a double spray down, actually.
That is a fantastic spray down. PDZ.
For Ailton, I guess.
Ailton
here.
Yeah,
he'll be able to confirm both of these. They're nowhere near. I'm assuming he's not going to lose track of share here.
Oh, actually,
that's not the start that Batman would have wanted. They've lost 2 to 1 guy.
Certainly, and they've had an okay start to the day, Batman, around middle of the pack, you know, finishing up around that 7th place, 6th place, so not the fantastic start that they were looking for, the hot start, but again, if you do lose players early on, all isn't over. If you lose 1, it's not too bad. If you lose 2, you're starting, you start to get a little panicky, but you can always find yourself crashing a compound in the zone early on, posting yourself up, and just praying really that nobody tries to come knocking, and if they do, then they make a mistake and you're able to capitalize. As we are inside the police car of the Red Canids. They have acquired a police vehicle from somewhere.
Stop some crime.
They are chasing the bad guys. They actually avoided that dip there.
I wanted to see that jump, man.
What? No, but this is sensible driving. Usually we see the players just absolutely
they normally
floor
just send it over.
One of the red players has actually been knocked and finished though by the side of 9K, I believe. So 9K are putting more pain on early on in the game. It's crazy he's found themselves underground somewhere. I'm not sure where on earth that was.
Haven't seen underground yet on Vikendi. So
no, I believe that's... Oh, where would that be? That's north, I think. No? Yeah, it could be up north. Oh, no, it's...
wait,
yeah, it is
we can just look on the map, too.
Yeah, it is. It is around Loops area, just north of the middle of the map. So I haven't actually been to that underground
You know,
area.
it's probably... You know what would make sense?
And you know what? For crazy...
It's probably the coal mine. Because, you know, there's a thing called a coal mine and they're generally
underground.
Actually, that would make sense.
It is the coal mine. For crazy, though, they might be better off just staying underground the whole game.
Yeah.
Because they haven't had the hottest start. And they've been struggling a bit. And I highly doubt that anyone's going to check the actual mine shafts in the coal mine itself. So maybe avoiding players is the best route for them at the moment. Stocking up on the meds. And just waiting it all out. Wait until the summer comes in Vikendi.
You're going to out-heal the entire zone.
I think they'll give it a better chance than what they're doing at the moment.
Imagine that. Like, if you somehow get enough heals, you have 4 players who loot really hard, give all your heals to one guy, and then he goes for, like, a 10-plus minute zone outlast.
Oh, you obviously haven't seen the Evermore play from PUBG's very first tournament.
No, I have not.
On PC, where he got stuck on a part of a map. He got stuck completely, and he just healed through the zone and ended up taking out first place. It was actually the most
How early did he get
wild...
stuck? Like, how long were we talking? How many circles are we talking he survived?
He survived for quite a while. I wouldn't know the specifics of it, but his teammates dropped him all their meds and then carried on their merry way.
I love that.
And he just taked it down. As we have a lot of teams rotating in now, so that we see some spraying out some cars and some clashes going on early. Influence Rage, they are still taking pot shots at vehicles, as one of the killers team has been knocked out. I believe might have been confirmed too. Well, I have to wait and see on that one. More shots rain out. That is Team Queso, who I personally want to see do very well. I enjoy the Queso guys, and hopefully they'll have a nice big game for us here, as we are on board with Red Canids, who have found themselves in a position where they are looking down the barrel of a gun. The vault comes out the window. When you're vaulting, you're vulnerable, so you're thirsted. That's another killer's team member out. We have seen Bastardos working on the team as well, doing some damage. The adrenaline shot comes in. That will help him heal up that damage, as the Red Canids are all over killer's team here. We could have our first squad going out nice and early. One player alive. He's getting the sprays on the Red Canids guys. Going for the thirst as well. If you get this last player, no, he can't. Doesn't get the thirsts either. So Red Canids will stay up with 3 players, losing 1 for that trade, but netting themselves 4 kills and the bounty of the killer's team loot boxes, or the looty bees. Oh, they're getting third-partied actually through that window, so it could be very careful there. It could have gone down awfully quickly.
Here's old mate Mixera going for your strat of wear white on Vikendi.
Yeah, it's a very good play. Mick might end up securing himself a lot of placement points here. Actually, he's on the run.
Being chased down.
But The bike is incredibly quick, and the UAZ is not so nimble. But he's actually circled back. Oh, he has managed to live too, Mick. So, on your Mick. As he's met up with his team again. More shots rain out. They are going to exit the vehicle, the side of XG, and have it go back. And that is good shooting from them, as one of the players in that vehicle is very low. On board with Mick now, and he's managed to knock one right out the back of that Jeep that you has. So, joke's on you, mate. You were chasing me, but the hunted becomes the hunter. They might actually be getting out to try and help this as well. On board with Crazy, as they've managed to find themselves a kill onto Bastardos. So, it's a good start for them. They're sitting at the bottom of the board at the moment with Brazilian killers. So any kills they can get is good stuff. Bastardos have got 2 kills to their name. They've already lost 2. Team Queso now getting involved. Very Canids onto this fight with Crazy. XG still chasing that car that went down earlier on. Mick Zera wants to capitalize on his good work. So we've already seen a lot of action going out. That car is very
that
low.
car's done.
That is 1 dead and 1 in the snow. So very well done there by Mick Zera. He gets the last laugh. He gets the loot and the bounty and the kills. So Mick has done his boys proud already. Now on board with Crazy again. They are only 2 strong at the moment, as one of their players is knocked out. Hopefully they'll be able to get him up momentarily. Looks like he's being revived now. They did lose 1 player though, so but 2 kills for them. That's a decent start. You'd say at the bottom of the board, if you're not getting placements, you want to be getting kills, and if you want to be getting guns, that's a good one to get.
And Mark 14 sitting in the crate there with a suppressor ready to go, and
so
some fresh level 3s along with it. Real here looking to get out of their compound. They've got Stardos across the way, but won't be taking any shots from them just yet.
There is essentially 6 or 7 teams within a tile of each other on this map, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams, in fact. All within 1 kilometer's radius. Or 1 kilometer... Well, yeah, 1 kilometer of each other, essentially.
Yeah, there you go.
So, we could see... Well, we have seen action kicking off already on Vikendi. We're down to 15 teams, 51 alive. So we've already lost 13 players from this lobby. They are taking a break. They only just came back from it, so it's pretty greedy of them to want another one. Brazilian Killers, though, they've been a quiet team of the day. They haven't been achieving much either, so you can't even call them quiet achievers. They are 4 strong, and they are rotating late in now, so that's something they haven't really been doing the whole tournament. The whole tournament they've been rotating very early, finding themselves in the middle of the circle, and then just killing anything that appears or they can hear or see. Anything you can hear or see, a Brazilian Killers player is shooting at it. So unfortunately, they found themselves having a long rotation this game, so they're not going to be able to employ that strategy, but they will be able to find themselves into the circle now. Cement Factory is still in relative safety. Peshkova's okay as well. We've got Cosmodrome on the north, nobody's touching that. Trevno in the north, nobody's touching that. The guys from SvG are just rotating past there now, in from the blue. As we see Team Queso running around like headless chickens.
Been trying to find how long Evermore actually survived for, but I'm not getting anything. The one thing I did find, which is interesting, is that apparently it was deliberate what he was doing, because he played the entire tournament that way, just running from everyone and getting himself a couple of victories, and allegedly he got himself stuck on that in that crevasse intentionally to heal it out. But what I haven't been able to find is how long he actually survived for, so I might have to go watch the VOD tonight and then report back.
It was an excellent strategy. It was like one of the first ones, and he won a golden pan for it.
Yeah, and I don't remember that specific play, but I do remember hearing about that, hearing rumblings of that in the PUBG Esports community at the time, because if you're involved in any one esport, you'll hear about the drama and the rest of them. And I do remember people being like, oh, he's not playing right, he was just hiding, that's not the point. But like, it worked, and that was indeed a strategy that people adopted for a while until kills became worth more. Yeah,
the zone also changed a bit, got fast, got deadlier. Meds got a little more scarce too, so you couldn't just find about 100 of them. On board with 9K, who have been the team, well, the most surprising team of the day, I guess, as the Red Canids are peppering the side of Disturbed. They've managed to knock one. With 9K sitting in second place overall so far after 2 games, they have had a good start to the day, as we are on board with the Red guys now. Up to 5 kills with only 3 players alive, so despite losing that player early on. They are going out guns blazing. They are not afraid of a fight, those guys, so that's good to see. Haven't had the hottest start to the semi-finals, so getting as many points as you can via kills always helps out.
Does indeed. Looks like we're going to have a bit of a quiet patch here as all teams have found themselves safely inside the circle. The majority are in the open, in between the Cosmodrome, Peshkova, and the Cement Factory, essentially. I don't know what it is with this map, by the way. It's not the same with Erangel for me, but this map, I just always want to say all the names in a bad Russian accent.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it is.
Erangel has a similar, very Eastern European sort of naming scheme, but it's just this map. It's like Peshkova.
Yeah, it is. It is very,
I don't know.
Very enticing.
And then you go,
the bad Russian
and then the buck, and it doesn't really work as well.
No, it doesn't really work as well for that. But accents aside, action is, as you said, going to have a lull, but as the zone moves in, we will find ourselves with a crate, and I believe that is the Brazilian Killers coming up to claim that. So
that is a Groza and some fresh level 3s.
Maybe that'll kick him back into action. And
Adrenaline syringe as well. The dream.
He's living out the dream.
Be able to run and get back in his car as well. And I mean, that crate was very, very far over the eastern side. It was pretty free for Brazilian Killers to grab. So good that they did take advantage of that one. They will now get in their cars and start to move as the zone is also moving. It's very close to touching that circle and getting on its way once again. Looks like they actually left. Yeah, Brazilian Killers looted that crate twice. I'm guessing the first guy grabbed the gun and then one of his teammates grabbed the level 3s or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No other reason to go back to that crate a second time, but I mean, I'm hoping this is a hard shift east, to be honest. Just try and get all of these players. I doubt it because there's still water in the circle, but let's just try and get as many of these players out of their compounds as possible. They are all pretty well dug in, though, so if this doesn't displace anyone, we won't have any fights. The Batman for sure will still have to move, as they're only just coming into the circle now. And
it's north.
Yeah, it's only the Batman who have to move.
Essential. So yeah, it is only the Batman have to move. It's unfortunate for us as viewers, but it is the way the cookie crumbles. They'll be able to climb down off their perch on Mount Kresnik, and hopefully they'll be able to get involved. As Influence Rage has been gifted a crate, essentially. It's just dropping from the skies now, so maybe that will entice players to come out and start getting into the action. But we do find ourselves just shy of 15 minutes in with one team eliminated, 50 players left on the board, so only losing the 14 players. Look at this crate, it's dropping. If that drops on the roof, that's very unfortunate for them because you can't get up on that second story roof.
Looks like it's in the clear.
Ah, it is in the clear.
Yeah, well in the clear.
Oh, get crushed by it.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you die to the crate? I assume you can.
You used to be able to get knocked.
Yeah, I know you used to be able to. I just wasn't sure if it had been changed because it's been a while since I'd played more than, a little bit. Another Mark 14 in there, another adrenaline boosts. I don't actually know if there was fresh level 3s or if they nicked them before that preview actually came up, but I think that shows what's in the crate no matter if it's been taken or not. So it looks like there was only a backpack in there, but they do get an adrenaline syringe and a Mark 14 with suppressor out of there. So decent bit of long range potential for them, which will be helpful given how spread out all the teams are still. This next circle should uproot several of our combatants, though.
The teams are that perfect 4 to 6 times scope distance away, and if you've got one of those DMRs, you can do some pretty heavy damage pretty quick. Mark 14 is probably the best gun for that situation. Team Queso on board with them now. It's all quiet on the everywhere front, not just the western front, although the western front is quite quiet, as Batman are the only team that have found themselves there. Circle couldn't come soon enough, to be frank with you.
Yeah, once again, it's another quiet one here in the South American region. 16.5 minutes passed. We've lost one team, 50 alive, so we've had a decent amount of combat early on, but nothing now. And it's really it's good for the teams, but I mean, actually, I'm not sure the teams are too pleased with this either because there's no fighting for us to watch, and none of the teams are improving their standings in the game by sitting here. And of course, they're not going out, but because nobody's fighting, the next team to go out, even though they're probably going to go out in a couple of minutes, at about 20 minutes into this game, they're still going to go out in 15th.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is going down. Like the placings, I suppose the placing floor has not improved in terms of the lowest possible place you could get, given that there's no combat at all.
Hopefully, for the sake of the Brazilian Killers, we can get them out of 15th place. A bit higher up for them would be nice to see. A bit more action out of them, as they are a very entertaining squad to watch on board with XG. Now, there's nothing on their horizons. They're just checking out the snow, checking out the beautiful sights and sounds of Vikendi. Snow falling in and around young Mick, who has adopted the white clothes. Very clean. And we see these two players just hanging out in a shack together, getting real cozy.
It's fine.
Certainly. Central again. There are teams on the southern side that need to move, though. So
let's go.
Red Canids are in play. 9K.
Brazilian
they need
Killers
to move
as well. And I think we're going to see this again from Brazilian Killers. They have always been a team who rotates the moment they're out of the circle. That's been their shtick the last couple of days. They are very, very quick to get mobile when they need to. And that's going to continue here. They are all straight into their cars and getting ready to move. Didn't have to go very far, but at least they've done it quickly.
A very far knock there. Team Queso getting a knock onto 9K, I believe. That is a fair distance. So, don't know if the 9K guys are just going to have to wait, pick up that player, and then just decide to move in. As the Red Canids are in the area. We've got, what is that? We've got the Red Canids, we've got Bastardos in the zone, and then just to their south, we've got Disturbed, 9K, and Real all moving in. Brazilian Killers, as you said, they found themselves on the very edge of that zone. Crazy are in front of them. They are very aware that Crazy are about. Ace in the center of the zone. Infamous Rage, who have found themselves another crate. Very central as well. PDZ, they've got a decent spot, but TQ, Team Queso, could find themselves a lot of kills here in a third-party area.
Ooh, one of those crazy players is a white ghillie on. That's going to be...
It's not a bad way to look around on Vikendi.
Yeah, pretty good for Vikendi here.
Little battle between Real and the side of 9K, as both of these squads have found themselves just inside the zone. Brazilian Killers have started out their run at getting some kills, as that is Disturbed getting absolutely lit up. That's 3 in the feed, I'm counted, and that
4.
could be them
There they
gone.
go. Yep, so Brazilian Killers, instead of going out in 15th, they're going to be the ones to knock someone else out in 15th. It's Disturbed who will be going out that early.
And that was very quick, that engagement. It was quick and clean.
Speaking of quick, the 9K guys are trying to get a run on here, or the Real guys, I should say, and hasn't gone so well. A lot of bullets coming their way through the smoke. They'll return some of their own, but not going to be rewarded for it, despite how low those two 9K players are. And there you go. Proza rotating around for Real has found the angle on them. This should be a pretty quick clean when that car goes up.
Yeah, he's knocked 2, so there's 2 players from 9K just sitting on the deck now. He's left them in a real sore spot. There's still cars available for this Real squad, so they can rotate out pretty quickly. But it looks like, for the moment, 9K's other 2 players found themselves in the circle, just hiding out.
And this is about a circle movement. There's a lot of teams outside it, so we've got Influence Rage, PDZ, Brazilian Killers are crashing immediately. As always, they are very quick on the pickup to go for the rotations, and they've actually crashed into TQ here. It's going to be a bit of an awkward engagement for them, as TQ have all the cover, and Brazilian Killers are still trying to find their way behind the wall, but they have done it. And TQ, Team Queso don't actually want any of this. They're leaving to go to another compound. They're going to let Brazilian Killers have that one and try and get out.
They're bailing out into a compound more central to the circle. The Crazy are on the back of the Brazilian Killers. Now Queso have found themselves an area where they can just post up. 9K are done and dust as their last player was found out. Red Canids have been moving in and moving strong. They have found themselves in the circle too. So a lot of teams now rotating through. That southern side of the circle is quite deadly as Real start moving through, and this is them getting lit up by the side of the Red Canids, who have found 7 kills already. Keep in mind, they lost their first player when they were on 0, so they found a lot of points as a 3-man squad.
They have indeed. They've been doing very well for themselves so far as action starts to heat up. 22 minutes in, we're starting to have these teams kicking off. Batman, once again, rotating in from the west. They've been very, very late on the rotations so far, but again, they did lose 2 players super early, and this is what we were talking about when those 2 players went down. We said they were more than likely going to avoid engagements, try and move up in the placings, and there's still 13 teams remaining. They're still only going to get 1 point if they go out, so I think it's going to be a fair while. For as long as they can avoid it, they're not going to show their face until they're guaranteed at least 4 placement points, I would say.
Yeah, I think that
if they can stay alive for that long, they're just going to avoid combat.
I mean, if I'm sitting on 2 players, I'm telling my team, if I'm the IGL, to just snake it out, try and sit for as long as you possibly can. And then, as we saw in our first game, Ace won, they had the 1 player alive, and he managed to get 3 kills and get himself up a placement point into 2nd place. So that's kind of the thing you want to be doing, snaking it out, taking engagements at the last possible second if you have to, because there is really no advantage of trying to 1v4 or 2v4 and going out without anything to your name, as everyone's found themselves in relatively safe areas. The red Canids are southern, and they were the gatekeepers, but now it will turn to Infinite Rage, who I believe are getting a 3rd crate on their compound.
Goodness me, that is a lot. The Bastardos guys are underground
right
in
under
the
red Canids.
tunnels. Yeah, they are indeed. The circle has shifted hard west. Both of those crates are still inside that circle. So we'll see what happens here. Brazilian Killers, once again, are immediately in their cars and on the way, as always. Red driving around as well, rotating over towards XG. Copping a couple of bullets now, but nothing to be concerned about just yet. They do manage to find cover behind the rock, but not sure that covers enough just yet, as they are getting shot at by multiple people. You can see, of course, in the background, the Batman guys trying to sneak into the zone as well. Once again, they don't want to take combat. That is a fire, my son.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get the first aid kit off, as we see Brazilian Killers crashing into the compound of Ace. Ace and the side of XG were in the best position. This is on board with Kaiser, the star of this roster. They're looking worse for wear, as Brazilian Killers have got 4 up, or they are getting all their players up. Ace have had 1 player confirmed, and this player has been knocked, so desperately going to try and pick him back up to try and give themselves a fighting chance in this fight. This is what Brazilian Killers are so good at, though. Getting an opening 1 or 2 kills, resetting the fight, and then pushing in again.
And
they take the fights in phases.
Well.
Yeah, they do take the fights in phases, as Infinite Rage do get a knock onto Crazy, who have decided to knock on their door. Kaiser has been knocked by the Brazilian Killers side, so now this is getting worse and worse. He's been finished too. You see the Brazilian Killers running around like a pack of animals. They're rabid and they want blood. They're going to find a little bit more of it if they can find Tress hiding behind this UAZ or this wall. There are 2 players around for Ace. Brazilian Killers know it, and they're hunting. They're still hunting. They found one of them. He does drop down, so it's only Trace alive now. We've seen him do magic things as the only one, though.
We have indeed. He did get a full squad wipe last game in the final in the final circle, actually. He managed to take out a full 4-man squad essentially by himself. I think he was credited for 3 of them before the other 2 remaining players, helped him take him out. But still, a chance for him to get some clutch action. It's going to be difficult here, though, given how close he is to all of these Brazilian Killers, just on the other side of the wall from them.
They know someone's there, because that player did get knocked, so the underarm Molotov could have flushed him out, actually. That could be maybe just off the mark. Here, gunshot go out. That is PDZ getting knocked by Center B's VSS. Center B had the clean fit on with the colourful hoodie. So now we've got a lot of snakes in the grass. And
PDZ have 3 knocked. Oh, never mind. They're getting confirmed now.
Yeah, 2 of them have been confirmed by the play zone. So Center B still wreaking havoc with that VSS, has now got a knock onto Team Queso's Ayla. Axial from Team Queso has been knocked as well. Center B's finished it off. Team Queso found themselves in a really predicament position, as all their players are getting knocked and finished off at the moment. There's 1 alive on that squad trying his best, but that's him getting finished off and finished out, as he does end up blowing himself up just to deny the point. We're seeing Infinite Rage now. They've been gifted a lot of crates, so they've got
should have
loot
many
out
guns.
The wazoo.
Exactly that. They should have all the guns and armor they were looking for. They would have, if they didn't already have level 3s on everyone, then they should have fresh level 3s on a couple of players at least, if not level 3s everywhere. The red players here hiding behind a rock, facing down with XG, who are sitting on the other side of this rise. Looks like they might want to move. Circle has shifted to south.
Yep, southwest.
Very hard to see, but it is indeed in that bottom left-hand corner of the current zone. I guess I can just look at the mini-map instead. Engagements at long range here for Brazilian Killers, and it looks like they will just about get that knock. Do they get that?
I think it was already a knocked player.
I'm
trying to confirm it. Yeah, there it is. Center B, 3 kills with his little VSS poking out. And getting poked in return, so he's going to have to move out the way. We can see the 2 squads with the best or the most up at the moment. Brazilian Killers, Influence Rage. SvG still have 3, but they can get their 4th up. XG, Red Canids, SvG Esports all hurting a little bit. Real Esports will be trying to tank that zone as much as possible. So that last player has been eliminated from the side of Team Queso, I believe. Or no, it wasn't Team Queso that they crashed. It was someone else. Can't remember now.
Also worth noting, we lost the final 2 Batman players in there a little while ago. So no more taking for rank for them. SvG taking engagement very, very close on Indeed, but get a little bit too keen for the confirm there, and that is the Brazilian Killers bowing out, as well as XG by the looks.
Yeah,
we did just lose 2 teams.
Looks like Influence Rage, the top frag is at the moment.
Yeah, no, there go
10 on
Brazilian
the
Killers,
board.
they're out.
Looks like their rotation. Brazilian Killers had a long way to rotate, and it looked like, unfortunately for them, they just couldn't make it work. With all eyes on Influence Rage now, because they are 4 strong. They have the circle positioning, and they're looking for a chicken dinner.
This seems familiar. Influence Rage is a team of 4 when everyone else is 2 or 1 player remaining. Last time we saw this happen, it was the 1 player who did pull one over them, but it won't be the case this time.
Straight
SvG,
4v4 now.
Yeah, straight into a 4v4. Oh my goodness, SvG, they're stuck outside the zone. Swagger's going to get knocked by it out there. Straight into a 2 versus 4 here. Things looking pretty comfortable indeed here for Influence Rage. I've just got to spot out these last couple of players. Have they gone into the zone to try res?
I don't think so, as this zone will hurt a lot, so probably wouldn't be the wisest thing to try and do. Influence Rage do know where they are. They know that tree is the spot to be if you are a SvG gamer. That's 2v4.
That's how it works, by the way. This tree is labeled SvG, stand here.
Yep, that is essentially the only place they can stand at the moment. Is they're just throwing nades out Hail Mary to try and get any room they can to push up. Mendigod, one of the stars of the group stage for Influence Rage, has found himself pushing up a little bit. And this is all over but the crying for SvG. They'd need a miracle to get out of this situation. It's just going to be a fact of who from Influence Rage is going to try and take these kills. Pad your stats a little bit, fellas. Get keen, as that car is slowly getting peppered to get blown up. They are just going to blow it up themselves for the cover. The zone will move in, and that will signal the end, you'd say, of SvG. There we go.
They will indeed both get sprayed down, and it's Influence Rage. They get denied in the first game by Trace out of Ace 1, but not to be this time. They finally get away with the chicken dinner they've been looking for, and a 13-kill one as well, so equaling the performance of the winning team from the last map. And I think well-deserved for Influence Rage there. They did, I think, get a little bit unlucky. I mean, admittedly, they did get outplayed because they just got sprayed down by one guy in a grass spot they didn't check, but I think they were unlucky there to not get away with that one when they had such a big advantage, and good thing that they're able to convert it this time. Have a look back at Vikendi. We saw quite a bit of action early on and then nothing for quite some time.
Yeah, that was
a nice shot from Mixera though, that knockout of the car.
It was really fantastic out of Mick, but unfortunately they got back up into the car, then it blew up, so Mick ended up having the last laugh in that engagement. And you're seeing more cars exploding, more bodies getting put to the tally. It started off pretty explosive for Vikendi, but it ended up evening out a little bit throughout the mid-game, getting quiet with those circle shifts. Brazilian Killers managed to find themselves a few kills, so they are back in business, you'd say.
Yep, I think they're going to be pretty happy with where they ended up. It's certainly, I think it's a nice bit of poetic justice for them that instead of going out in 15th, they're able to put a team out in 15th instead, getting a team wipe and knocking out. I've already forgotten who they knocked out, to be honest with you, but we'll see. Either way, I think that's a nice little return to form for them. We were looking for that, considering how well they played over the group stage. Yeah, just want to have a really quick look. Where is the correct piece of paper here? So in case, you did miss the group stage, our top 5 were Brazilian, XG, Nova, Bastardos, and Red Canids. So we haven't really seen any of those teams have great games just yet. We've seen some decent ones. Red have played pretty well. XG have been up there.
Interestingly enough, we've got 4 of the top 5 in our lobby today, with only missing Nova. And of those 4, Bastardos were in the 5, or no, they weren't. They were just a little bit below. But Red Canids have been here and there, but they haven't been solid. It could be Brazilian Killers actually on the top of that little pack, but even then, those top 4 or those 4 of the top 5 have not been standing up today to the levels that you would expect out of them. Luckily for them, they do have a lot of games to work with in this phase. I think they have 16 they play in total, so 4 more than what they did in the groups. So there's that little bit of wriggle room there for them.
So it's actually potential that we could have some higher scoring or higher total scores overall. Maybe Brazilian Killers will finally break that 200. They've got an extra four games to do it, so maybe the 2 15th places won't hurt them so badly. I mean, just for additional context, Influence Rage wound up in 15th, and they were the ones who just took that chicken dinner, as you'll see here, with 13 kills. So they'll be pretty happy with how they went. They got 101 placement points overall in the group stage. They've got themselves 20 placement points here, so a pretty good start for them, and 13 kills is equaling our biggest chicken dinner of the day so far, and of the, funnily enough, of the semi-finals so far, as we are into our very first day of that. Other than that, you can see Red Canids managed to get themselves into the top 5, XG in the 6th position, Brazilian Killers up in 3rd, so this was a better game for our top teams from last season, but still, it's the other teams who are the sort of the middle of the pack teams who had a better time, or who are having a better time so far today. Bastardo's down in 11th. The Batmen, they managed to get 3 placement points. I think that's probably about as many as you could hope for there when you lose 2 players almost immediately. Killers team disturbed, ace 1, or going out pretty low down as well. I mean, I don't think there's really anything too much to be drawn from that. Having a look at the overall standings, Bastardos still up on top. Influence Rage overtake 9k for 2nd. But
it's all pretty close though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it always is. Like the first day, unless we have one team, which we have a couple of times, unless you have one team who gets multiple chicken dinners in a day, you're not really going to have a huge shift with a massive split between any 2 positions, right?
Certainly.
Until you have, like, you know, Brazilian Killers level of dominance and they wind up 50 points, I think, at the end of their first day, ahead of their closest rival. Of course, that was with half the pack having not yet played, but I think that's the biggest gap we've seen so far. I'm not really going to get that, but having a look at things here, Brazilian Killers move up, so that's good from them.
Crazy move up as well. Yeah, they've got themselves off the bottom of the board. It is disturbed that now will sit in the wooden spoon position. With Brazilian Killers moving up, Team Queso moves down, Loops move down, so they're going to look for a little bit more action on Erangel to find themselves up in the points tally. You'd expect Team Queso and Brazilian Killers to break themselves into the top 8 by the end of today. Yeah, you certainly would. And I mean, we do have one more map to play. We go back to Erangel. I'm hoping that we do see a bit of a return to form out of our previous top 5 teams, but it's been fun watching the game so far and seeing our teams who haven't been performing so well getting themselves some wins. But either way, we do have one more map yet to come. We're going back to Erangel for our final map of the day, and we'll do it right after this break. But they are quite hesitant because they have been sprayed from 2 different angles as this player is destined to get knocked. He's peeking for a little too long. Gets confirmed too. Gets thirsted. Goodbye, sir.
Prove you're right or wrong, but, you know, sounded pretty good. Yeah. Bastardos guys getting up inside this compound and trying to take the fight here. This is, we said it was insulated before. It was not, but it looked like it's going to be knocked out here as they all swing together. They should be able to clean the skills up. There we go. Now
and climb onto the roof to descend, so probably a smarter move there as the spray comes through the window. That gets a second knock. This starts to go the way of the Batman as they start converging. There's 3 knocked down. The last player alive. He goes out pretty quick.
Gonna get the 1, but there's not going to be any trade possible. That's,
it's me.
It really is. It's stuck between a rock, or well, several rocks and several hard places at this point, and that's them out. That's them out in 9th. It's not what they were looking for there. They do get run over. So much for 4 alive.
It's another gone.
The
He's
Bastardos
made it
guys are
inside
going to
the
be
building,
forcing
but he's forfeited his life to the GI guys. Guardians Imperium collecting a free kill essentially there. This is Bastardos. They're done and dusted as well. There's another one. Team pushes in. Guardians Imperium actually cleaning up here in this stairwell.
What is going on at this
Guardians
point?
Imperium, Killer's team, facing off. 2 versus 2. Nova have 1 player alive. He's going to go for the first 2. That's actually a very handy play.
With the zone right there, that's very... That'd be so much fun.
What we haven't seen though is 404 getting involved in early fights. The first 2 games we saw them very involved in early engagements.
Yeah, I mean,
this game, very quiet.
I guess the trade-off they're making is, sure, they would go...
Vehicles.
Oh,
he gets him out
Run him
again.
down,
Gets
son.
the second, goes to the run over, but no, it's just straight onto the hay bales, fly straight on forward. Goes down.
Yeah, and murdered is not the way you want to go down. Old age, maybe as they...
You don't want to go down.
Old age, maybe as they...
You don't want to go down
Don't
by
like
a
that
vehicle
either.
flip either.
That is a big
Goodness
one.
me, that is...
And this man has
PDZ
8
knocked
kills
out
now, I
and
believe.
gone, yeah. Really out here, I don't think he's going to have the angle. Indeed, he has been spotted. He's going to stand up there for the kill, but he can't.
For long range kills, if you can, in the early on games, we're here trying to get over that hill. Will he make it? He only got 1 wheel.
His Elementrix try and push in, but they're coming up against Orange Rock. They're coming up against Hydra as well.
He's just waiting.
Aman has already gone down for entities. They've lost 1 of their 3 Snow Snakes.
A few moments later.
Yeah.
Where they have 1 guy who is just waiting in. This might be go time. I don't know if they spotted it out. There's 2 of them right there.
Oh my god, Neo.
Oh come on,
This
he's
guy
gonna
is a
go in.
really strong fragger as well.
No way.
He's
Shoot him!
Neo.
He's not part of your team!
Linky!
Kiki!
Kiki! He's right there!
You know he's there!
No.
Oh my god!
What is going on?
He's part of the team,
He
mate!
hasn't chucked it!
Kiki,
Oh, it's
Kiki,
the third
please!
person.
Oh, he's got it open! Oh, he's gone! Ah!
What is happening? Neo!
Neo, please!
He's right there!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
time for our final map here at PMCO 2019 in the South American region. First day of the semi-finals. We are 3 maps down, 1 to go. We look to Erangel to close things out. I am Brainstorm. I'm still joined by Smash. And if you have missed any of our games or you'd like to make sure you stay up to date with all the future ones, check out the PUBG Mobile Esports YouTube channel. You can go subscribe and make sure you have all the content in, we said 11 languages? I don't know.
Yeah, that's around about that mark.
Around about 11 languages, roughly, give or take. I can't even make up another number quickly enough to... I'm not good at faking numbers. There's too many real ones. Anyway, so make sure you can do that. Go over and subscribe to PUBG Mobile Esports channel on YouTube. And also, if you do want to play the game, it's free.
It is.
No cost. And
Absolutely
it's on the
cost.
Google Play Store and the iOS App Store, so you can download that as well.
Some fantastic game modes too. Not just the classic Battle Royale game modes. Got the Team Deathmatch and stuff popping up now. So some fantastic game modes to get into it. And shortly we'll be getting into Erangel, but to recap the day so far, it has been a day of the underdogs. It's been the top boys, the top 4 teams that were in this group.
The top boys, yep.
The top boys, they haven't been firing on all cylinders. They haven't been coming out and blasting away the opponents like we thought they would. Instead, it's been pretty quiet stuff from teams like Queso, Brazilian Killers, Red Canids. They've been pretty quiet. Bastardos have been the top of the pops so far. They were one of the teams in the top 10, but not one of the dominant teams. So they've had a good day for themselves, as well as Team Influence Rage. They are sitting in second, I believe, now after a few good performances. So those boys are looking to hold on to today's lead, but still plenty of action to come and plenty of points up for grabs on Erangel.
It's worth noting as well that if you have just joined us and you've watched the group stage and you're now just tuning into the semis for the first time, we have reset points completely.
Yep.
So the only thing that carries over from the group stage is the teams that are actually playing. We eliminated the bottom 8 out of our starting 32. We now start again fresh. So we, pardon me, started today 3 maps ago at 0 points for everybody. So it's a clean slate. Our teams who were on top last time are no longer that way, as we do look at Erangel here, the OG map, the beta map. It's been around for a very long time, and having a look at this plane line, this is one of the more exclusive plane lines that we've had. It actually locks out a large majority of the map.
Yeah, it's going straight from the military base into Lipovka, stopping at Milta on the way, but not a lot of other places. The prison is going to dip over the top of.
Pachinki is pretty easily accessible. You'd be able to make it past school. Going over the farm, going over the shelter, the mansion. Like, there's a lot of places available. Yes, Naya you could make with a bit of a hike, but pretty much everything up in the very top of the map is going to be inaccessible, at least without some effort. Looks like a lot of teams going out early and heading over to Norsk. Wow, a lot of teams deciding to loot here early. With a plane like this, it does rule out a lot of... Well, teams can't drop on their preferred looting spots. They're going to have to do some driving, as the majority of the teams are choosing to head north, grab a car, hopefully get on that coastal road. We've got 3 teams, by the look, taking the military island. Everyone else choosing to try and head as far north as they possibly can. In the parachutes and, well, in parachutes and flying, I suppose, as well. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we see half these teams just try and grab vehicles as soon as they land. It looks like the Brazilian Killers are leading the way into Pachinki as well.
Certainly are. They did play Pachinki at the first game of the day. Ended up going out in 15th place though, so that circle has popped up. As you can see on your screen, it is on the southern western side of the map. So it's actually been pretty friendly towards the teams. A lot of the teams can access this circle pretty quickly. Pachinki is in a decent spot too. Gatka obviously in play and the field surrounding it. Quarry, Primorsk, it's all in there really. No team's going to find themselves too far out. Yasnaya is going to be the place for the Killers team to go, as we've already got a shotgun knockout. That is the Bastardos getting into the side of Disturbed, who find themselves at the bottom of the board at the moment.
That's a confirm as well on that shotgun frag.
It certainly is. That's one of the top players as well, Law, who has had a fantastic group stage. Unfortunately, we didn't see many players outside of Brazilian Killers in the top 5 for the kills, just because they got just a stupid amount, really. It was very rude of them. So
An impolite amount of kills.
It was an impolite amount of kills. So, but Law was right up there with it. So he had a fantastic start. So he's starting his day off, well, the end of his day off well. As Real is jumping around the crates. I believe this is at Novo. So they look to be accompanied by SvG there. So it will be a little bit of a battle as we see that hoodie once more. The orange and yellow mess that is that hoodie.
Yeah, I think that was Guy. I'm guessing G-U-I-H would be Guy.
Yeah.
Don't actually know. Either way, Real will be able to grab whatever they can find out of these shipping containers. Hopefully for them it was shipping containers full of guns and armor.
Weaponry and not
would be ideal,
soft
and not
toys and
yeah, soft toys, a shipment of cookies. You know,
Oh, I wouldn't go. Oh, I guess cookies wouldn't be go that bad actually.
I mean, in a life or death situation, maybe not so much, but soft toys would potentially be more useless.
I don't know,
unless-
like
I don't know, moral support.
comfort food on your way out isn't the worst way to go out.
Yeah.
If I had a bag of cookies, knowing that it was the end, I wouldn't be the worst situation I've ever found myself in.
Particularly if you had a container of
Of
cookies.
cookies. Yeah,
not
I'd just go
a bag.
straight in the middle of it. Who's going to shoot a container full of cookies?
Will the diabetes kill you or the zone? Which is faster?
I think the zone might beat you out. Diabetes is a bit of a slow burner.
No,
But
I reckon you can give it a red hot go.
yeah, you probably could. This is actually a really nice fit from your boy on screen.
Your boy Gee.
It's got the beehive backpack, but it's not really a beehive, but it's like beehive colours with the
bee.
glasses on it, looking with a grin. Cheeky grin. This is on board with SvG, who...
XG have found themselves a knock as well.
Oh, really? Have they? SvG have been playing alright today, actually. They found themselves inside the top 8, despite coming into the playoffs or the semi-finals from 24th position. So they just scraped themselves in, and they're making the most of it. The rotates are on now, though, as people are rotating past XG, as you said. So they're lining the coast on some of their players near the farm area. A lot of teams are using that coastal road to rotate, as it is probably the safest or the fastest way to get into the circle. And because of where the circle is, it's probably going to end up closer to that road than further. Killer's team still in Yasnaya. Georgia Pole is being dominated by the crazy guys. Nobody went up to contest them. They must have got vehicles and headed for the hills straight away.
Yeah, I mean, we thought that was going to happen, especially with the circle where it was. In order to get up near Georgia Pole, you did have a fair hike, and it would be inefficient to do that distance on foot, considering that this is one of our bigger maps, or one of the
Yes, it
biggest.
is.
It's up there with Miramar. 64 kilometers squared is the entire grid. The island doesn't quite take up the whole thing, but either way, it's a fair distance to travel. You want to do it in a car, so they wouldn't want to walk 64 Ks, or 8, which is
I don't think
one
I
side
could
of this.
walk 64 Ks. I think I'd be cooked by then.
Oh, not in one sitting. Well, sitting.
Well,
standing.
you know, one in one go, yeah. No, not in one go, definitely not, but 64 Ks, man. 64 clicks is a long distance. We see a car being polluted. One of the Red Canids players has managed to crash himself into the river and now finds himself on foot.
You've really booked
You
that.
absolutely numpty. He's gone off the bridge, I reckon.
He's proper binned that.
Yeah, he's proper. Yeah, his parents won't be too happy. That was probably his first car, and he's just put in the drink
It's got
straight
L
away.
plates on it. And just
Yeah, it's pretty rough
didn't have a
stuff.
supervising driver. Straight in.
Yep. Breaking
Lovely.
the law.
More
Can't be doing
Australiana references that no one's going to get. Love that.
It's fine.
Either way.
It's
The
fine.
Bastardos guys getting themselves a buggy here with Law and hitting the hills with it.
No helmet on though. No skid lid in the buggy, so it's going to look to rectify that. Find himself a helmet. He needs protection on your head, especially when you're dealing with some of the sharpshooters in this lobby. Brazilian Killers still mucking around in Pachinki, getting stuff done. They did look for some cars earlier, and I believe they've found some to rotate with.
They will absolutely have cars. They always prioritize being able to rotate incredibly quickly,
Yeah,
and
that's
as a
what I
result, they'll have minimum 2, I'd say probably 3 cars. Like we've seen over pretty much every map, with the obvious exception of Sanhok, because you don't really use cars to rotate on Sanhok. Pretty much every map, they prefer rotating, for one, very quickly, and secondly, they always seem to try and do it in 4 cars if they can.
Now, the Red Canids are in a very powerful position here. They're having these control of these hill area. There is a lot of deflate that you can play around, so if you do get aggressed upon, you can hide pretty quickly, but you also have good sightlines over all the fields that kind of lead up into that southern area. So if they can dominate that area and the circle finishes close to it, they're going to be sitting for a big game. As you see a car chase going on now. That is the side of XG getting stuck into it. You can see him shifting seats. The guys on SvG unable to finish the players off, but you can see some of the tactics used and employed there to try and stay safe in those cars when you're getting shot at. Just violently shifting around in the seats, jumping around.
Aggressively swap seats.
Well, if you're not going to keep your seatbelt on, you might as well do something.
Oh, yeah. Just
Personally, I'd be
teleport
laying
from one
down.
seat to the other.
Personally, I'd be laying down in the back seat,
Taking colour? No.
but if he wants to jump around like cat on a hot tin roof, then he can do that himself.
Trace here on his own in a car with a little bit of camouflage on it, so a little bit of stealth here. This Dacia.
He had a very good Erangel game, first game of the day.
He did indeed. That was part of his big clutch team wipe thing that essentially enabled Bastardos to take it. So
this is the position I was talking about with Red. They have huge sightlines over pretty much everything. They were seeing that player. Unfortunately, no vehicle for them. They are rotating across the coast just on foot.
The hard way, as it's known.
He's just sizing up this shot. Not sure if he wants to take it. It is a bit of a long shot. As he has started spraying out now, you can see the player has taken a little bit of damage. Looks like one bullet connected. 17 damage there. So not the most effective at that range, the Dinner player. As more spam comes in. I believe this is Bastardos getting beset by PDZ.
That's Disturbed, actually.
Disturbed, okay. But Disturbed have managed to find themselves several positions, so all of a sudden PDZ have given up their location and are being a little bit camped at the moment. So
yeah, there's not a lot they've actually got from taking.
And they don't have much loot.
Unfortunately,
PDZ, sorry, they don't have much loot at all. The player only had bandages, level 1 helmet, no Manzers. Red are getting peppered now by the side of DT, who have made themselves known to the area. Circle has shifted hard west again, essentially. The bottom of George Pole is in it. Gakka smack bang in the middle. Pachinki is on the side on the eastern coast. As this player is going to get confirmed. So this is a good start from Disturbed, who definitely needed it. They are one player short.
Ooh, and they're taking fire from Red on the hills now. This is an awkward engagement. It's happening on multiple angles. And
scratch that good start call. It's been a shocker.
It's very rough for Disturbed. Now they're pinned down in this compound with shots coming from pretty much the opposite extremes. They've got PDZ shooting at them from quite some way away, and Red getting engaged from higher up the hill as well. You can see a buggy coming in there.
It's a handy crate to have.
Yeah, there's a crate with an AWM and a suppressor for said AWM, as long as a full set as well as a full set of fresh level 3s. That's what you like to see. Gives you a bit of that long-range power, as long as you can find a scope to go along with it, and most players should have a couple of sights at this point.
Just
AL here worried about being beset by enemies. Is going to throw a smoke out.
Just the architecture of the map at the moment, what's left in play, there's a lot of fields and a lot of open terrain. So that AWM could come into play big time if someone's been able to pick it up. It is in a hot zone though, so stopping to pick it up could be unwise, as Brazilian Killers are probably the closest squad to it. The teams are rotating through now towards the center of the zone. Gatka, as I said before, is quite possibly the middle of the zone, or the most central place.
Yeah, we haven't had a Gatka finish yet.
That Crossroads and the Gatka fields, the chopsticks are up in play as well, as we are at the chopsticks areas now. Lots of players getting ready to engage as the nades fly out. It's a volley of fun.
Now, these two teams are actually probably not going to engage each other, despite how close they are. Both teams are on the opposite sides of these roads, in these culverts, just sitting in very good cover. They're sitting behind little ledges that are above their heads. They've got all the cover they could need. I don't think either team can actually throw a grenade far enough to hurt the other, as both attempted it immediately and didn't get too much. So we may well just see both teams jump in their vehicles and cleanly disengage here.
Either cleanly disengage or
unless Ace decide to force the issue, which they are.
Ace are kind of pushing up a little bit now in the hill, trying to get some information as to where these players actually are. This player has no helmet on the side of Ace, as we see some spraying coming in. This is the Loops guys spraying onto Killer's team. Unless he drives into that nade, he should be okay. But a lot of playing around the defilade and the ditches at the moment, or the gullies, around that chopsticks area. As you can see on the mini-map, they do look like they are two chopsticks pinching together. As more nades roll out, but it is quite a good place for grenade kills, but it's just a fact of you need to be able to actually get them down in there. That player leaves one bullet in the mag, one in the chamber.
It's playing gun game, man.
Yeah,
oh no, one in the chamber was its own mode, wasn't it?
Circle has almost shrunk to its fullest, and we find ourselves losing no teams, or losing barely any players as well. Only 4 players lost.
Yeah, and here you go. This is what I thought. This engagement will not be eventuating here between Ace and SvG. That's a bit of a yeet of a Molotov. Not going to make it far enough.
Could be behind the tree, but it looks in the tree.
I think it's in the tree.
Yeah, it is.
So he's single-handedly contributing to global warming.
Well, there's a word for those. But I'm not going to say it on broadcast because it's a bit rude. But Circle's popped, and it's over Gatka. It is straight over the top of Gatka. So a lot of those teams around Pachinki have to move. The chopsticks are still in the middle of it. It's on the eastern side. But there is a lot of room not being used in this circle. So teams are going to get a wriggle along, and they're going to get into their cars and leave. These two who have been throwing stones at each other essentially for quite a while. Ace and I didn't remember the other team's name just off the top of my head. They've been throwing stones at each other for a while. It's not going to eventuate to anything, as previously mentioned. Killer's team have found themselves in the ditch. They need to decide if they want to move closer to the center of the zone or if they're going to bank on that eastern shift next go around.
They do have a very secure position where they are as teams. To be able to take them out of there, teams pretty much need to be able to run up to them and drop grenades in the hole, which, in fairness, Killer's team can't really prevent that. Due to them being lower down, they will have a blind spot that will allow players to get close. But they will have de facto protection by everyone else in the server, because if you're going to run out in the open to try and grenade Killer's team, then ideally everyone else is going to be shooting at you. So that is a position that could work out for them. Ace and SvG are still trying to decide what they want to do here.
Kaiser did get knocked before, but able to get picked up pretty much immediately. This position from the Ace player was quite a cheeky one, just in case there is a bit of a nade volley and rush from the side of SvG. He'd be in position to stand up, spray down, get a few kills for his trouble. But Ace have decided to pack 4 into a Dacia and move out, or 3 into a Dacia and leave 1 behind. So 3-man in a car on a rotate in circle number 3 is risky business, as you could quickly lose the majority of your squad, 75% of your squad. And they can hear the fire rain out now. I believe that's INF onto those cars that they did leave behind.
Looks like it.
There's not a lot of action going in here. Brazilian Killers have rotated hard north. They're up on top of Everest now. They're going to be looking down upon
the plebs.
The plebs, basically, to see what they can find. Might be able to find some cheeky third-party kills from on high, or
hopefully they've got some decent long-range weaponry to hand. If you've got a DMR up there, you're pretty golden, but relying on ARs to fight at that sort of distance consistently is not going to be the easiest thing for you, but it will work. If you're all 4 team shooting, then it'll work out pretty well. That said, though, they've decided that they are not Sir Edmund Hillary today, and they've gotten off of Everest. They're going to be moving away just a little bit into the foothills.
Yeah, this is a good spot to gatekeep people as well if they do try and mirror the rotation and go north. Teams are just being a bit quiet for now. It's all quiet on the western front. There's not a lot of action going down. The next circle will push teams together and it will force people to start getting a bit friendly, as we will be in the 4th circle with no water. So there is lots of room to play with for the teams, but they are majority packed into that southern corner or the southern eastern area of the zone. It has shifted into that area, so Brazilian Killers have shifted away from the zone. XG are now pushing into them, so we can see an engagement anytime soon from some of these teams, as Team Queso have to move in, and they're moving the way of Bastardos. Crazy are pretty far out, same as Disturbed and the Red Canids. So the circle is pretty friendly for the teams. Chopsticks still in the middle, so you will see those players that chose
Chopsticks still in play, mate. That's what really matters.
That's it. They're still in the circle, so they've got a lot of cover in that area, but hard to get out of. As we see Mixera just perusing down the streets of Gatka.
I mean, streets is generous.
As Trace wears one to the noggin.
Mick's going to cop some shots, but he'll get away from it in his little car. Whoa, big air.
Yeah, but he's fine though. He's got a good suspension on that.
In the meantime, Red and Real are starting to have a bit of a go at each other, exchanging a few rounds and exchanging a knock as well. And Rosa here should be confirming Natowski, which indeed he will.
That'll be him gone.
Got the rest of his team nearby, but in the meantime, 9K have snuck up from behind and ruined everything. There will be 1 revive coming through for Real here. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get the second. Those players are very exposed. There's 9K push up the hill looking to force the issue here. The zone is also on its way in. The Disturbed boys are still coming out near the zone. Crazy, Brazilian Killers, Team Queso. A lot of teams are coming in late here.
Yeah, there is a lot of teams coming out late. I believe XG wore a few casualties too to the Bastardos on a compound crash. Gone wrong. There is lots of action about ready to kick off. We are on board with Real still.
Trying to repel this 9K push.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of the beasts that are 9K. We've seen Team Queso getting involved as well, as there is a lot of rotating around that southern side of the map.
Oh, here come Crazy straight through the middle. This is very risky for them, and for exactly that reason. Ayala is going to get a knock and a confirm onto Toiko out of Crazy. And did their car just slow down in the middle of everybody?
Yeah, I think I might have. No, here it is. It's on the hill now.
No,
we
that's
are
fine.
going to be running
Okay.
into it.
Well, I think we should camera shift then. That's
9K.
fine.
Getting the spray. That's dropping very low. They're going into another squad too. There's no
Goodness.
hiding for this crazy guy.
Hell for leather for Crazy, and I believe that knock might have just have been the car driver. However, we are 18 minutes in. We're still yet to lose a team, so...
And Nate does a bit of damage to that UAS, but it doesn't do damage to the player just yet. That car is not looking too hot on board with Killer's team, who have found themselves probably in the best position in the circle. They're not on the low ground, and they have found a house to hang out in for now. Nobody's home. So Ace getting some knocks onto Disturbed, who desperately need to find somewhere to call home. That is in Gatka. Ace have been dominating that region for a little bit now since they moved out of the chopsticks. Brazilian Killers have found themselves alone on the western side, so they've rotated late enough to avoid the trouble that was there previously. Lots of things to think about as the circle moves in once more.
Yep, the zone is nearly about to touch
Still
the circle, so we're about to
16
move.
teams.
Yeah, still 16 teams, but surely that is changing now as we just had 3 knocks ring out in a matter of moments. SvG still have control of this trench here with a couple of bikes.
Ooh, this is a good circle. This is a good circle.
Yeah, that's
lot
forcing
of teams.
a lot of teams to move. Exactly that.
It's just on the southern side of Gatka, so there is a lot of room in play that is not being used right now. And that whole eastern squabble that's been going on for quite a while, the whole southern squabble too, they're going to have to move eventually. I believe there is a lot of field to be played in around there. So cars are going to be key, as they are the only cover you will see in this circle.
Nice run.
Some pot shots coming out now from the Batman onto the side of SvG that are stuck in the chopsticks. You stayed too long, fellas. Once the circle rotates away from that area, it can be very difficult to get out of. More shots rain out. This is a little squabble now for the farmhouse, the last farmhouse. It's not in the zone actually at all.
No, Pitty's been here for a while, and Loop's going in to fight them, and they're going to go 1 for 1. Need to get another knock here, and Skrilla's going to manage that.
Certainly manage it pretty comfortably, as the rest of the PDZ guys are up in the hills overlooking this compound, and they're not going to be able to answer back. Still no team knocked out. Oh, it's one team just got knocked out actually. So
that was PDZ.
I believe it was, yeah.
I don't know, there's a lot of teams dying at the time, but I think that was PDZ that just went out.
Yeah, I think it was. So they are our 16th place team of the last game, as teams still choose to rain out shots. There's going to be a lot of action, so bear with us, as Bastardos are now fighting between 3 or 4 squads. 9K and Real in the mix there. Brazilian Killers, center B, gets knocked and finished by Team Queso's Ayla. There's more knocks coming towards the Brazilian Killers too, so they've found themselves in a really rough situation where they're losing out players left, right and center. They're getting confirmed too, as Ace are still moving out of Gatka with force onto Disturbed, who were pestering them earlier.
And we just lost another team there as well, so down to 14 now. Things starting to happen quite quickly here. Real with 1 player is trying to sneak up on Bastardos, but...
Bastardos are gone, I believe. No, that's Disturbed.
No, that's Disturbed who are out now.
Team,
yeah, we're starting to bleed teams pretty quickly, which is what you'd expect when you're 21 minutes in, and we've still got most of the lobby in here. So now fights are going to be kicking off pretty much all over the place, and we will start to cull through our teams pretty rapidly as well. It is indeed, that is, I believe, 9K. Real and 9K potentially. But only one of them's gone. Yeah, Crate in the middle there. Brazilian Killers are looking to grab it, but 9K are also right here.
Team Queso have been lighting up the scoreboard or lighting up the kill feed recently. They've found themselves in a nice position to third party a lot of teams, as that nade does knock another player down. Ayla on 3. Kills for the round already. This nade could be good.
I don't think it's quite going to get far.
That one might. Ooh, no, it doesn't. Both of them ring out a little bit too short, but the knowledge is there and the sprays are coming out. Killer's team now getting involved in that too. One of the Team Queso players actually gets sprayed out from the blue. So that is very unfortunate for him. There is a lot of knocked out players around. And Team Queso have a lot of angles that they are looking to fight from. Not quite landing these shots. The shift is southeast. So teams that have to move are Bastardos, Ace, Batman. Yeah, a lot of teams have to move at the moment.
I mean, Loops are right on the edge of that zone, so they don't have to go very far. So too with the last player from Red Canids. The Bastardos guys have quite a way to go, but not really too far. Ace and the Batman have to move a pretty similar distance here as well. If we're having a look at Loops spraying away in front of them, they still have quite a way, or a little way to get into this zone. And the problem is, while they don't have far to go, they don't know that they can be safe. So have a quick look at the live charters. As you've said, there's a lot of snakes, a lot of teams on one or two players.
Certainly
4
are.
teams still at full strength. The Bastardos, Batman, Killer's team, and Loops Esports.
Bastardos now crashing in though onto Killer's team, so they're going to be very careful. They're not exactly the most healthy players in the world at the moment. Killer's team have 4 up. Bastardos have 4 up, so this could be the big fight that decides who starts to get knocked up. And just as we thought the engagement was over, there's more teams pulling up on the block as well.
Oh, goodness me.
The
This is going to
Batman
be a
have
big
decided to
multi-way
show.
fight. Yep, the Batman getting involved now too. This could be a lot of teams who go down here. That is a free kill onto that Batman player. He's not going to be confirmed just yet, but there's nothing that can really be done to help him at this point. Loops getting involved now onto Team Queso. Still a couple of teams, or a bunch of teams remaining in it. 27 alive, 8 teams as we bid goodbye to, I believe...
Brazilian Killers are
Brazilian
out.
Killers, yeah, they are indeed gone. You're right. Influence Rage is starting to take some damage as well. They've only got the 1 remaining, so...
That's Ace gone.
Yep, Ace are out now too, so we are bleeding teams all of a sudden here. It's taking its time. We are at the 24-minute mark just about now, but there's still a fair way to go. Oh, come on. Okay, good. I thought that was actually going to land in the middle of their compound. It is outside, so that's a bit of a risk to get. I'm not even sure Killer's team want to go for that over just keeping control of the buildings that they have.
Right now, Team Queso's last few players are getting spammed out by the Loops guys who are, at the moment, king of the grass as the spray from the dinner plate from another player gets a knocked down. 9K are proving to be quite pesky as well as more knocks start coming through. This is incredible action now as teams are knocking each other around. The Bastardos and Killer's team are the only 2 with 4 remaining. The Batman compound crash has not turned out too hot.
The circle's about to shift as well, and it will indeed shift south away from everyone. Loops are the only team who can get in it right now. I don't think Killer's team are too far away either, but everyone's going to have to move, and that's going to be tough here for the guys who are already set up in compounds.
He just walked into that
nade. I think he threw that in through a tiny windows up on the top of the wall there, but he nailed it. That was a slam dunk if ever I've seen one.
He's found himself inside.
Is indeed inside. He's just going to go straight in and try and wipe these guys out, but unfortunately, targets the wrong player. No, able to recover it. That's 2 free kills for him. He'll run in with a dinner plate and grab both, and now he'll actually have time to heal up as well. So big damage there done by Law.
Well, Killer's team can say they fought the law and the law won.
Don't fight the law, kids.
As we see Killer's team getting a lot of aggression onto them from 4 players to 1
just lost
in
9K.
half a second, you'd say. Batman took full advantage knowing that Killer's team was the team inside. Bastardos are getting peppered now. They're only down to their 2 players up. Batman, they hear that player needs to move out of the zone straight away. One of the players from, I believe, can't quite read that. Influence Rage is trying to heal up in the blue. He's managed to just find himself in.
Yeah, he's only just inside the zone there. You can see that. Bunch of smokes going out in front of this compound. But look at this. There's 3 buildings inhabited by 3 different people. 4 if you include the one who's just outside. But it is Influence Rage who is going to clean up Law. That's Bastardos down to just 1 player now. That's not looking good for them. And you can see just how much damage the zone is doing here to this Batman player. He'll be able to get a heal off. And
he's just going to go for it, I think.
10 bandages, 2 healing kits. That's... I think it's a little bit premature to try and out-heal the zone right now.
Influence Rage player hears him, and as he jumps over, he meets a face full of bullets. That's another squad down to 1 player with 3 solos.
This could actually go
1 duo.
any way at this point. Loops
Certainly
only
can.
with 2 players up. We did lose
Killer's
another
team
one there. Killer's team are gone in 4th place. Batman, Influence Rage, 1 player. Loops with 2 each. And all these players on opposite sides of the circle. Actually, Batman and Influence Rage coming in from the same position. It's
We've seen
Coam and NTX coming in at very similar angles, and the 2 LPS guys are split up.
We've seen Loops have terrible finishes with circles and stuff like that. So hopefully for them, they can hold their nerve and stay inside the play area for this round.
This should be the chicken dinner for them. The circle's moved away from them, but it's only this 1 Batman player who is left. And while he is taking the opportunity to heal, he's got 2 players against him. I'm not sure he's going to be able to win that kind of a duel, especially when they're both prone in the grass with a crossfire and they're not right next to each other.
Stocking up on
He's
energy
not going to be
drinks.
able to find them both, I don't think. He's indeed just having a whole bunch of energy drinks before this zone starts to move, but it's doing that in 20 seconds, so his hand is going to be forced. And in the meantime, Loops are actually creeping their way forward, taking no chances.
This
They're going on their belly to get themselves into the next circle. They're going to force this Batman player Column to move.
This is a little bit of cover with that tree. Will obscure vision a little bit, but I don't think any of them are using the line of sight currently. As we are just crawling around on our bellies. One of the Loops players is moving towards the center of the circle, so if he does end up getting shot at, there will be a trade immediately, you'd think. As he's on board with the Batman player. They've netted themselves 7 kills. They'd need 9 for the chicken dinner, and he is spotted, taken out, and that is Loops securing themselves the last chicken dinner of the day. It's a decent one too. It looks like it's a tenner. So that's not a bad finish to the day for them.
And I believe that would be their first chicken dinner so far.
Yeah, I think it is.
They played pretty decently in the group stage, but I don't think they actually managed to take themselves a win. They've done it here in what was a pretty chaotic game. We had another big period of inaction in the middle there, but then it all kicked off, and it was not clean fights either. Pretty much every fight that we saw was between 3 participants at least. There was no real 1v1s apart from the fight that didn't really happen, which was Ace versus SvG on opposite sides of that road in the holes, for want of a better word. But look, it was pretty chaotic in all directions. This should be a pretty decently spread out kill distribution as well. We'll have to have a look at the scoreboard when we get to it. But
I think Bastardos might have got the most kills with 11, but apart from that, there is only the one other team on 10. So it will be pretty spread out, and the points distribution will be quite nice. So a lot of teams ended up finding some kills there, finding themselves some points to go home with. So that's always good to see, as we see the highlights from the game ring out. Well, that's the first day in the books for these South American semi-finals, and a lot more action at the start of the games than we previously had seen, but then it kind of slowed down towards the middle. Endings were okay too. There were some explosive finishes there. The Gatka Fields finish is always a favourite of mine. I like finishing in the fields with lots of snakes, lots of interesting angles that come about, to kind of see who spots who first.
Yeah, it was pretty good overall. I mean, the interesting thing is, of course, is that we have reset the points, so it's a whole fresh start, right? So our top teams from the group stage are not necessarily going to be our top teams now, and certainly, according to the scoreboard at least, they won't be. I still got belief in them all. They showed us well enough over the group stage that they can play to a high level, but I think it was a good day, good first day, in that we had a lot of teams who hadn't really done so well doing a lot better. They were getting the high placings. In the case of Loops, they were managing to get their first chicken dinner.
Certainly.
So it was a good day. You said it before. It was a good day for the underdogs.
Yeah, it certainly was a good day for the underdogs. Seems like Influence Rage had some nice days as well.
Yep.
Killer's team had some strong finishes. Those two teams are the ones that really stood out to me. Bastardos, they had a decent day too. They were top of the pops for the most of the day, so that's good for them. So it's nice to see some competition coming through, and it's not just Queso, Brazilian Killers, and Red Canids just like owning the opposition. So this could finish pretty interestingly for South America if those two teams, or if these top 4 teams kind of leave their run a bit late, could leave things very tight at the top.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is they are, as we mentioned before, they're playing 16 games this time, so we do have less teams. So it's 4 more games than they played in the group stage. There's a bit of extra time to make the run back into it. But, I mean, I don't want to see... We had in the groups, I don't really want to see another teams doing subpar until the last day and then bringing it back. As much as it's exciting on that last day, I'd prefer to have it competitive the whole time through the semi-finals, right? Like today we had a bunch of teams or a bunch of winners who hadn't been up the top as consistently as our top teams from the group stage. So I like to see that, like we had a lot of teams that this is going to sound harsh, but that we almost wrote off because they played 7 games straight in the group stage getting 2 points. And then it came to the last day and they showed us they could play really well. And some of them actually managed to pull it out and get out of the bottom 8 with literally the last couple of games. Now it looks like last game. So now we're starting to see that earlier, which is good. And I'd rather see that, right? Have the upset potential start early and keep things interesting, because it's not like we can have the previous top teams coasting on their previous results, as we don't have them anymore. Either way, this is the game that we just saw. Loops with a 10-kill chicken dinner. Batman getting 21 points all up in that second place, 7 kills for them. Bastardos 11, so look like they'll be the kill leaders for this time, our second time on Erangel for the day. But also up there, Team Queso, Influence Rage, Killer's team. Those guys have had pretty reasonable games. Team Queso had a bit of a rougher start, but particularly Killer's team and Influence Rage have had a good day.
Yeah, certainly had. SvG also had an okay day considering where they came from. Brazilian Killers, they're the ones, that's a big story. They're the ones that haven't had the good day at all. XG, they have had some struggles too. Crazy have had a really rough day. PDZ not
Again.
too great either. Disturbed haven't had the worst day, but could be using some improvement over the coming week or so of games. This is the final tally for the day. It is Bastardos ringing out true. Only 4 points ahead of Influence Rage. 9K, SvG, Batman, Loops, Killers Team, and Ace1 all round out your top 8. But there is not a lot of difference between them. Ace1 on 38 points. It's less than 30 points behind Bastardos. That's 28-point different. Not a lot to separate the teams at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, that's really the way that it tends to go through our format here, at least until we get into the later games, unless one team wins multiple games in the same night. It does tend to be quite competitive, and that's more interesting, I think. As much as it was cool seeing Brazilian Killers just slay out, I think it's more interesting to see it this way. But our top 4 and our bottom 4 will remain unchanged. We've had a few changes in the bottom 8. We had a bunch of teams shifting downwards, but pretty interesting that after 4 games with different winners, we have such stability in the top and bottom 4.
Well, look at that. Team Queso, Brazilian Killers, XG, and Red Canids. They were the top 4 from our group stage, or 4 of the top 5. And they all find themselves from 10th to 13th. That is crazy stuff to start off the day. They still have reasonable kill points, don't get me wrong, 12, 14, 12, 14. But it's just they haven't been staying alive, they haven't been getting those placement points. Like, you look at Real Esports above them, they're on 23 placement points with the same amount of kills. So maybe they are chasing those kills a bit too much. Maybe they're backing themselves in a little bit too much in those fights. But I'll look to see who adjusts to what tomorrow or the next day, whenever they play next.
Yeah, so tomorrow will be groups E and G. So it's half of the teams that we had tonight and then a different half. And then we'll do F versus G, which is the second half that we had tonight. And then the other half will play tomorrow night.
But as you said,
that sounds really weird, but we have 3 groups now. 3 groups, not 4. So E, F, and G. So that's our format. As you said, sorry, you had a final point to make?
That is all for a later time. It's not for now.
You're right.
We are going to have to sign off here as we are done for the day. Thanks for joining us. Hope you join us tomorrow, same time, same play for some more PUBG action.